Welcome to a terrific Tuesday and a warm good morning to all Ghanaians except the Black Stars. Like Mensa said, them get hot, but them know they feel. But we will not rest on that. Let's move on. Life happens. My name is Sweetie Abochi and I welcome you to the AM show. I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. In today's lineup, I'll first serve you the news like I always do, and then right after, NPP parliamentary candidates hopeful for Ibuakwa North, Palgrave Boache Dankwa, will be our guest, joining Benjamin Akakpo for the news review. Right after that, Mubarak Haruna will present a segment. He will do an analysis of the Ghana versus Mozambique game, social media reactions and everything that happened yesterday, the hearts that were broken, those who were vindicated because they didn't expect much from the Black Stars. Now, some parts of Accra have also experienced water shortage over the last few weeks. How has this affected you? I'll be out today in town finding out how this is affecting you. So when you see me in town today, speak to me. We'll also hear from the Ghana Water Company Limited on this, what's really going on. And then later on in the show, we'll host Musa Dankwa of the Global Info Analytics on what their research into the NPP primaries will show. Then there's also an analysis, key analysis on the battlegrounds, talking about coming elections in December. Then we'll host Hayford Siang, who's seeking to cause an upset this week at Insawa Madwejiri. He wants to unseat incumbent and not Dompre. How does he hope to do that? He's our guest later on in the show and we'll get talking. And then, like we always do, we open the phone lines for you to have your say, whether on social media, whether phone in. Join us. Let's have a good morning from now till 10 a.m. My name is Sweetie Abochi and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. Welcome to the AM show. Let's settle for the news. This is the AM News. Let's settle now for the details. We begin from the Ghana Water Company, who says Ghana's population has outgrown the quantity of water it supplies. This has resulted in the shortage of the commodity in some parts of Accra and the central region. The situation has compelled some residents to spend more on water for their household chores, while others are left with the option of relying on unwholesome water sources. There's more in this report by Stanley Martey.
Pipes in some parts of Accra have remained dry for weeks. Residents of Adenta, Weija, La, Dakuman, Odoko, Fadama, and Kaswa are among the hardest hit communities. A visit to Dakuman, Alafia, Monday showed residents trek several kilometers in search of water. Here, taps have been closed for weeks, compelling the people to explore alternative water sources to augment their water supply needs. Some say the distance they cover to source for water is affecting their health.
It's been 2 weeks that we've been searching for water. It has not been easy for us. They must do something about the situation because carrying that every day is affecting our health.
This well is polluted, but stranded residents buy water from it and use. Businesses that depend on water for their activities have had to temporarily shut down their operations.
We have resolved not to vote if our taps do not flow. If the shortage is induced by technical problem, they should let us know because residents at Fadama and Dakuman are really suffering. My sister, who is a hairdresser, is compelled to shut down her salon because she does not get water supply.
The Ghana Water Company Limited has meanwhile assured its customers of water supply before the close of this week. The Urban Water Management Body explained that the water crisis occurred because the country's population has outgrown the capacity of water it can supply. Hence, it will need funding to set up a new system at Pong to boost water production.
The Electricity Company of Ghana says it is yet to implement the 15% value-added tax on power for above lifeline level consumers. Now, as part of government's post-COVID recovery plan, the Finance Ministry officially notified every distributor through the Ministry of Energy to impose a levy on power consumers above lifeline line. a policy which it says should take effect from this month, January 2024. But External Communications Manager of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Laila Abubakari, tells Joy News ECG needs a bit more time to understand how to implement this new regime. Blessed Suga has the rest of the story.
In its latest post on social media, the Electricity Company of Ghana acknowledged the impact of the intermittent power cuts across the country, while indicating that it is actively working to resolve the crisis. There is mounting pressure on the country's energy distributor ECG to announce a load shedding exercise which will allow power consumers plan effectively for the unexpected outages. But ECG is downplaying the calls and allaying the fears of the public. Laila Abubakari is the External Communications Manager at the Electricity Company of Ghana.
There were unforeseen events that led to power outages. However, all these issues have been resolved to the barest minimum. We are very sure that these outages are not those that we have foreseen or as a result of a generation shortfall. It would be a local fault. But when someone says give them a load shedding timetable, then it means that we are sure that there's definitely a deficit. When you are not sure there's a deficit, how can you give a timetable for something that doesn't exist? If we know that we are going to be short of a certain amount of kilowatts per hour or gigawatts per hour, and we know it's going to be for a particular period of time, then we can come out and give our customers a timetable. But if it's something that is unforeseen, like if one plant all of a sudden goes off because they had an issue that they had to terminate, or if we didn't expect that maybe a tree will fall on a very important line, or one of our BSPs catches fire, and we are not aware of these things coming at us, how can we give a timetable to the customers?
The Ministry of Finance at the start of the year wrote an official letter communicating to the Ministry of Energy on the need for the imposition of a 15% value-added tax on consumption of electricity for those above the lifeline level. A month into that directive, the Electricity Company of Ghana says it would need some additional time to effectively work out the computation for the imposition of this new levy.
So the value-added tax announcement that came into effect in January has appalled a lot of our customers. The truth of the matter is that we haven't started implementing it, even though that letter says that it should have been activated in January. The reason being, we still have to understand how to implement this tax. So we are having active conversations with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ghana Revenue Authority, and with other stakeholders who have also brought their concerns forward. So for now, there's no value-added tax as announced included in residential tariff or residential customers buying electricity. For now, it's still the old status quo. We've maintained an active engagement with our stakeholders, who mostly comprise of the power generators, to have them on the same page with us in terms of payments. I think since last year, our revenue generation has increased, and we found a way of ring fencing or having an agreement with the IPPs to hold on to the legacy debts that we owe them. But we are very up to date with the current bills that come to our desk. We try as much as possible to pay off those debts so that they can also function as businesses.
Blessed Sugan reporting for Joy News, Electoral House, Accra.
In other stories, the industrial action by the university's Senior Staff Association of Ghana is biting hard on the Kwame Nkrumah University in Science and Technology campus as teachers of the university's basic school boycott class in demand for the restoration of their Tier 2 pension and overtime allowances. Now, pupils of the school have resorted to self-learning to keep busy. The local chapter of the association says the strike will continue due to the government's failure to meet their demand following a meeting with the Labour Commission. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku has been monitoring the impact on campus.
Few days into the industrial action by the University Senior Staff Association, the impact is telling on the KNUST campus. Members under the association took to the streets of the campus and thronged the administration office to vent their displeasure. Basic school teachers, security and library personnel and other administrative officers have abandoned their duties in demand for the restoration of their overtime allowances and payments of Tier 2 pensions. Nana Bediako Baye is the secretary of the Senior Staff Association at KNUST.
Our demands are also very important to us. We have to balance work and whatever we get from the work, and that is why we are on strike. Yes, we know that most of the teachers at the KNUST Basic School are currently at home. We know the security personnel are currently at home. We know the library staff are currently at home. We know that most of the departments, the workers there who are senior staffs are at work. What we are saying is that the government should listen to us so that we go back to work as soon as possible.
Academic activity is almost grinding to a halt at the KNUST Basic School. Teachers at the school have abandoned classrooms with a few national service personnel and other casual workers at post.
So on any ordinary day here on the KNUST Basic School campus, you would find a lot of cars parked here at the parking lots for the school. But today, unfortunately, we are seeing only a few of them around, just some 6 cars or so. But ordinarily, you should find a lot of cars. These cars belong to the teachers who are under the Senior Staff Association here on campus. According to the Senior Staff Association, until the government heeds their call, they will not be going inside the classrooms to teach. But today, when you go inside, you only find the casual workers and even the national service personnel who are taking over.
Josephine Akpenyo is a teacher and a women's commissioner of the local chapter.
You know, the situation at hand, there's nothing one can do about it. So that's what is happening. But I just felt for the learners in the class. But what can we do? We are on strikes. Because now we have, I learned they have the casuals there. They are just about a few, yeah, and they can't take care of these children. So even today we are announced that all staff, they should take their children off the school, because if something happens to the children, we cannot be held responsible. So I believe from tomorrow the number will reduce.
The local leadership says if the government fails to meet their demands, it will be forced to withdraw its members at the university hospital, which is presently in operation. Nana Baye again.
We have not closed down the hospital yet. The university hospital is still running. And if by close of the week we don't hear anything from the government, we are going to withdraw all our staff from the university hospital as well. All the nurses are senior staff. Okay. We have the lab technicians who are also senior staff, the sonographers and the rest, they are all senior staff. With the exception of the senior pharmacists and then the doctors who are not senior staff. All the other workers are senior staff.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Now, scores of Ghanaian fans who watched the Black Stars game against Mozambique at the Alassane Ouattara Olympic Stadium in Abidjan are disappointed about the team's abysmal performances in the AFCON 2023 tournament. They want a technical team lead led by coach Chris Hughton sacked as the national team's head coach. Anas Sabit watched the match at the stadium and came through with this report.
Well, it's all over here at the, Alassane Ouattara Olympic Stadium here in Abidjan. The Black Stars of Ghana, after leading by 2-0, had to concede 2 late goals, and that means the game ended in a 2-2 draw, leaving the thousands of supporters who thronged the stadium to throw their weight behind the national team disappointed. We come across a couple of them here behind the stadium, and we want to speak with them and have them share with us how disappointed they are at this particular 2-2 scoreline here at the Alassane Ouattara Sports Stadium.
We are very much disappointed on this game. I think Black Stars is becoming one of the useless teams in Africa. Black Stars is becoming one of the useless teams in Africa. What is happening? Why? All what is needed, the fans will be able to do it. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them?
Well, I'm very disappointed. The players didn't help us at all. Because having 2 goals, and then we went to sleep, and then allowing the Mozambique to equalize the 2 goals. I think it is very bad. It's very bad. The players didn't do well at all. You have 2 goals. So yours is to defend that 2 goals. At least if you are not going to score additional goal, maintain that 2.
And then I'm not fan of the match. Many are G. Nakuba be a crime. I want to say no. Because you're 2 goals, I should 2 penalties. 2 minutes to 90 minutes. You have to go. It's a goal now. But what is a goal? No. Defend the goal for us. So that at the end we qualify and win. That's what we want. We don't need any more goal. Like 2-1 is good for us. Now show my in our boy.
Yes, of course. I look very disappointed. I think that there's something wrong with Ghana Football Association. Ghana Football Association, as a matter that controls football in Ghana, there's something wrong with our football association. Look, our local league is dead. Division 1 is dead. Division 2 is dead. After court, I don't even want to go there. How many of our local players are playing with the Black Stars? How many? It is so sad. It is so sad. Hey,
fact, we are happy of it. We are criminal and free. In Ayabutu, you know, let's say Black Star team no more share. In Ayakuma the team Nichi. The Banisana, let's almost my Yarekra.
I'm very disappointed. Even now, I don't even know whether I should go back to Ghana or I should even remain here. Because back home, they'll be laughing at me. Because when you see at the stadium, the atmosphere, how we are celebrating the 2 goals, I'm very sad. It's sad as a
You know, most of these fans do not understand how the Black Stars of Ghana, you know, considered those 2 late goals. They believe the technical team did not help in terms of their substitutions, and they are calling for the head of Chris Hughton.
What I will say that the player didn't do anything. It's a coach. How can you remove the defender and bring the striker inside? When the time is up already. How can you defend your goal? So I think this coach is not a good coach. We have to sack him.
I told you earlier that technically, tactically, systematically, strategically, psychologically, these coaches cannot help us. And it has come clear. Look at the changes that they did. He scored 2 goals. And within 6 minutes, they were able to equalize. So Chris Whitten and his technical team there, Massa, they have to leave Ghana earlier. I'm telling you, the technical team is bankrupt. They are liability. They should move away from that place so that we can play matches without a coach.
Let's send players in now. Let's send coaches in now. Let's have local players. Never train them here. Now we Ghana Black Star. I'll be happy. Pa.
So this has been the unfortunate, you know, scoreline here at the Alassane Ouattara Sports Stadium, where the Black Stars of Ghana considered 2 late goals to draw the game 2-2 with Mozambique. You know, finishing the group with 2 points at the 3rd spot. We wait to see the outcome of the rest of the, you know, group games to determine whether the Black Stars are kicked out of the tournament or they'll be able to proceed to the next stage of the competition. From the Alassane Ouattara Olympic Stadium here in Abidjan, my name is Anas Sabit, reporting for Joy News.
I can tell you that many Ghanaians share the sentiments of the fans there, but that's how we wrap up for the news. I'm in black, I'm mourning. Up next is Benjamin Akako, but he's right here. Benjamin, how do you feel about yesterday's game?
Oh, it was exciting.
What? Exciting.
The Black Stars are engaging in cost-cutting measures. So, it's a wrap.
Benjamin, I watched the game at the 70th minute. Then I thought, yes, it's a done deal. Let me go take a shower.
I don't get how. Bear me out. Like, how can you, right, at the 70th minute be up by 2 goals? I mean, it happens in football, but in Cameroon, Shemo, 74th, 75th, 76th, 77th, 80th minute or something. 90th minute, 2 goals. 91st. It's a goal. 94th. It's a goal. I mean, Ghana for don't they deserve to come back? Awa,
they should come back to Awa too. Up next is news review. Over to you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for the news review. And of course, it is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering you out there, if you're a man, pay attention, your prostate. Just yesterday, I was reading about someone who had gone down with prostate issues. It had culminated in the death of this individual. It's not to say that once there's any problem with your prostate, you're gone. No. As you grow, it will get enlarged and all of that. But sometimes there are complications. If there's a malignant development there, cancerous development, if you don't watch it, it could spread. So that walnut-sized organ, so small, but because you are not going for checkups, it could spread other things to the rest of your body. This gentleman is gone. Just yesterday. If you're a woman, fibroids and other fertility-related issues are becoming very common. In fact, like I keep repeating, just as with those of us who use glasses, these are medicated. For most people, they have eye issues. It just may not develop to the point where they are using glasses. Same with fibroids. Most women have some developments. It just may not develop to the point where it becomes a problem. There has to be surgery and all of that. That is why this morning I'm proffering for you Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Because if you're a man, they're offering you prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, they're offering you fertility screening for free. Just reach out to them at any of their branches. They are here in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronowa here behind the Angel Educational Complex, the Takrady Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman, Hanswa, and Isiama Enzema. If you'd like to call them, these are the numbers. 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review, and I don't know whether for the Black Stars as well, I'm going to be very sarcastic this morning. We cannot say the end to chronic pain. So Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Ghana Black Stars, the end to chronic pain. Let me introduce my guest this morning. I'm a bit in a certain mood this morning, so I guess I'm going to rain hellfire on anyone that crosses my way. Unfortunately, the Black Stars have crossed my path. But he is the parliamentary candidate hopeful for Ebuakwa North. And he also is, are you still the government spokesperson on governance and security? You are continuing in the role, even as you are contesting for...
Well, there are people with bigger roles.
No, I'm just asking.
I know.
For clarity, because sometimes some people
in the
leave
context of it,
things.
but there are people in bigger roles than mine is just a very minute role.
And that is what...
of the government landscape.
they all say, spokesperson, governance and security. And he says
it's a very minor one.
Anyway, so Paul Grieve Wachidankwa joins the conversation this morning. Thank you, Paul Grieve.
Thank you for having me. A very good morning to you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's the first time we're actually interacting. We met sometime, at least a few times last year. But anyway. The Black Stars, that's why I want to start this conversation, even before I come to you and your campaign and everything. The Black Stars. You heard what I said. I can't for the life of me. I can't. We did it against Egypt. I felt okay. Football. 70th minute. You are 2 goals up. 2 penalties. Black Stars 2.0. And Cameroon Shemo after 70th or 80th. 90th minute. You are still 2 goals up. 91st minute. Black Stars 2.1. 94th minute. Black Stars 2.2. Why are they toying with that? You know, I wasn't watching, but I was following online, the live. I could hear, and I noticed something yesterday, which took me back to the 90s and early 2000s when the Black Stars were playing. The shouting was, you could hear it far and wide, the radius of the shouting. Yesterday, when we scored, the shouting was restricted to, at least for my environment, it was one family I was hearing shouting. One family. I can tell because I know who and whose voices were. And then all of a sudden, when I started hearing, I knew that,
Well, so Benjamin, let me greet good people of this country and greet my people of Achimbe North constituency. And to state that because of the campaigning season, yesterday my constituents were watching the football right out from the various electoral areas. I observed them. They were pleased with joy until all of a sudden. And you're right, in the days of the 90s, the Odate Lamtes, the Precons, the Abedi Peles, you would hear very resounding shouts.
Palgrave, if you were sleeping,
it would wake you up.
While the Black Stars were playing, you would be woken up because you would realize something had happened.
But yesterday was quite a sad ending, to be honest. I had a lot of very high expectations that we would end the match with a 2-0.
And you know what really broke me? Because I checked and realized that Cape Verde had drawn with Egypt. So it was like, do you get it?
Absolutely.
Egypt had drawn 3 matches, so they were on 3 points. So we were basically cruising.
Very much. I think
we're in cruise control. It wasn't going to be the permutation of will now be one of the top qualifying third placed teams.
Yeah.
They have drawn.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot more conversation has to go into the uniqueness and the formation of the Black Stars, because I realized that every single person who is a part of the Black Stars, as it was then of the years, everybody is playing for an international team. And so the only time you would have them come together is when we have such CAF, and then we have World Cup and qualifying. We need to be able to grow our own young people internally.
Are you talking of local players?
Local
like focusing
players,
more
yes.
on
Focus on
the local league and all of that. But the local league itself is not thriving.
In the years past, you would bring in just about 1 or 2 or 3 people who play outside, who come to change the dynamics of the game. But then you have other people. But now it's almost every single person is playing outside. And I'm sure by the time they return back to Ghana, they have their return tickets back to their countries to play for them. But we need to have a very good look at it. It's a sad day for the Black Stars, but I'm sure that they'll do better the next time that we have an opportunity.
But there's only one respect in which I am happy for the Black Stars. Do you know that respect?
Please tell me.
By this, they've engaged in some patriotism because they're engaging in cost-cutting measures. So we are not going to spend any more. If they had progressed, we'd be spending more. Since they've decided to come back, we're going to save costs. So we are back. Anyway, let's focus on your campaign. Ibuakwa North, we've said here before, it's a pretty prominent constituency within the NPP. And you are locking horns with some interesting people as well. I know usually when you ask these parliamentary candidates why, that is where I am from, I go there, I have lived there and all of that. But beyond that, why Ibuakwa North? And why do you think you want to be a member of parliament?
Benjamin, thank you very much. To begin with, this is the ballot. I'm number 2 on the ballot on Saturday, just a few days away for us to be able to vote. Benjamin, I brought you a copy. Of the ballot.
I'm not voting.
I know, but you can
I'm not a voter.
But then you can let the people know that this is the ballot, number 2 on the ballot. Yes.
All right.
Really, Ibuakwa North is a very unique constituency, and rightly so. It's where I come from. I come from Otafo. My mother is Irajua Chumberema, who is from Otafo. My mother's mother is Amabuatimo Furiata, who is from Otafo. Amabuatimo Furiata's siblings are Aaron Oforiata, who was Speaker of Parliament in the Kwame Nkrumah regime and the Minister for Education, and also Dr. Joe Oforiata, who died recently, and we celebrated the 1 week in New Tafo just about a week and 2 ago. He was one of the medical doctors for the Ghana Sports Council years past. And my great-grandmother is Abenago, who also comes from Otafo. Nana Oforiata, who was the king of Achim Ibuakwa, came to marry 3 women in Ibuakwa North. So I'm part of the descendants of the people from Ibuakwa North. Ibuakwa North is a very unique constituency. It's a constituency of about 92,000 inhabitants, to close to about 32,000 to 35,000 electorates who exercise their democratic right and franchise in an electioneering year. It's an agrarian constituency. People are engaged in farming, and primarily they will do cocoa farm, and then they will do the other farming opportunities that they have within the constituency, like cassava, plantain, and very, very small cash crops. Also, it's a constituency beacon with a lot more young people who drive an agenda of hope and inspire a lot more vision. For me, coming into the constituency is to be able to see to it that we enhance the innate abilities of the young people and give them great opportunities. Every single young person I've met in my constituency who has either finished free SHS and hasn't had an opportunity to continue, I've put them on the Boachidankwa Scholarship Grant, where I'm giving them an opportunity to.
Is it a personal scholarship?
It's a personal scholarship.
It's something you are running?
Yes, it's something that I'm running.
Funding?
And funding.
How are you funding it?
Well, family. My mom died last year, and so my family decided that as part of...
My condolences once more.
That's okay.
We've already...
Yeah. My mom died last year, so my family decided as part of my mother's benevolence, we should engage a lot more young people and give them opportunity to be able to further their studies. And so that grant is available that we're giving to young people. There are a few that I've brought to Ghana Telecom, a few that I'm sending to All Nations University. The goal is to ensure that every single young person has an opportunity to go to tertiary and then have an opportunity to engage in a brighter future. The other key goal in my constituency is infrastructural development. I believe in infrastructure. I've stated on record to state it that for the various electoral areas, from Fisher to Abu Abu to Enginesin to Etukrom to Tontro to Nobi to Obodase to Bediesi to Busudumasi to Abrimponsu to Ariaben to Osiem to Sokodejaso, Kokrentumi, New Tafu and Old Tafu, I've stated that I'm going to bring a game reserve into my constituency.
A game reserve?
A game reserve. And so when you go towards Nobi and you go towards Bediase and you go to Obodase, it's a forest. My constituency has a lot more farmlands and a lot more forests, which is why the king of Ibuakwa is called the Kwabi Bremhene, which is the Osajifo Mretia of Oripeni, whom I bring special greetings to this morning. And to state that the game reserve is going to be a one-stop measure to eradicate the level of unemployment within my constituency. Because we're going to build a canopy walk, we're going to bring the big five animals, the elephants, the lion, the tiger, the zebras, we're going to bring them into the constituency. So when people come from Kwewu after the Easter, we'll just tell them, migrate Bonsu, get to Etukrom, come all the way to New Tafu, and then climb to Nobi, and then come and enjoy the canopy walk, come and enjoy the breeze of Ibuakwa constituency. And that game reserve is going to create jobs, it's going to bring drivers, it's going to bring tour guides. Even the people that are going to construct the game reserve are going to be people from the constituency. And so my goal is to ensure that the constituency grows and strives. And I've stated very clearly that as young as I am, as passionate as I am, as visionary-oriented as I am, I believe that I'm the best candidate for the New Patriotic Party in the Ibuakwa constituency on Saturday. I'm available, I'm faithful, I'm teachable, I'm enthusiastic. My relationships cut across the length and breadth of this world, worked in about 78 countries for 23 years, and built huge networks, and I'm very certain that these networks is what I'm bringing into the constituency so we can have an opportunity to serve them better. Okay. We've also built boreholes. As I speak now in the constituency, I sent the files to your producer. We've done 2 boreholes. They are about 80% to completion. It's a mechanized borehole. It cost us $30,000 to do that. At the time when we were doing, the dollar was a cedi to 10 cedis. So that's about 300,000 to do the mechanized borehole to ensure that people have portable drinking water. And I've also promised that every single household in my constituency that does not have a toilet is going to have a toilet during my...
Let me just ask you this. I mean, these are quite a number of things you're doing. An endowment fund, a game park and all of that, and a mechanized borehole. These are interesting things, but these are things too that I see many other candidates are doing. What sets you apart? For example, so you talk about the game park, right? I find that interesting because, yes, we are blessed with natural vegetation, but we're also destroying it, thanks to Galamsey. And now, I don't know what lithium mining will bring. I just found it curious that in one breath, we are destroying our environment. In another breath, at least if you are trying to do something, that's fine. But what sets you apart? When I look on the ballot, there are 5 of you, right?
We are 5.
And you are going for this seat for the first time.
Likewise, every other person with the exception of the certain MP.
Exactly. I mean, it's still a tall order with these things. I'm sure if I went to these other 4 people and said, what have you done? They'll tell me something very similar. Maybe minus a game park idea, or maybe with a game park. Who knows?
I don't think.
Or maybe minus the scholarship. But even the scholarship. Now I see that it's a thing that is running through. Everyone is supporting. So I'm asking, what really sets you apart? What is different?
Benjamin, I think that my unique selling propositions are extremely very key. I engage the media on a regular basis, and I think that the media cannot be taken out of the entire governance structure. You're the 4th realm of the estate. In Parliament, you go to Parliament to parley. If you go to Parliament and you are not able to catch the eye of the Speaker and engage on the floor of the House and aid in policy and aid in bills and aid in legislature and go to the committee level and aid in advocacy, then what are you doing in Parliament? And so the real goal for me is that my very unique selling proposition is what I bring onto the table is my strength of communication, is my strength of network, is my strength of my capacity. Because I finished my door-to-door this morning at 3 a.m. My capacity drove all the way from the constituency to come on your set. Once I'm done driving back into the constituency to do my one-on-one campaigning. So it's my capacity, and it's capacity that I have maintained over the past 23 years. And I'm sure that people in government have seen that level of enthusiasm and that level of capacity that I've brought to my role as a government spokesperson on governance and security. There's not a single topic that I've not engaged. There's not a single policy that I've not sought to bring clarity to. There's not a single disaster that has happened, from trying to evacuate young children from Ukraine during the war. At the airport, every single morning, 5:30 a.m., we were receiving flights that were coming and we're leaving at about 2 a.m. And so it's the capacity that I bring. It's also the uniqueness of my availability. It's the uniqueness of my faithfulness. I'm extremely faithful. It's the uniqueness of my teachability in my actions and my attitudes. It's the uniqueness of my enthusiasm. I'm very, very established with my values and my depth of understanding of issues and my depth of understanding of parliamentary proceedings and the entire governance structure. And then also is my uniqueness of my relationships. Because you see, when you come into service in terms of governance structure, and you come into service of public service, you must be relational. You must be approachable. You must be open-minded. Okay. You must ensure that people can be able to come to you and share their challenges with you. And then I have a lot more empathy, and I have a lot more sympathy, and I'm a lot more philanthropic, and I'm very spirited as well. If you look at all these unique abilities that is laid out for the candidature of Palgrave Bachinakwa, who is number 2 on the ballot on Saturday, I am certain that the good people of the Obuakwa North constituency would make none other decision than to decide that I, Palgrave Bachinakwa, becomes the candidate for the new Patriotic Party.
Okay.
My uncle was the former MP, J.B. Danko Edu.
Right.
Who
and that's why I said that is a storied constituency. We're also letting all these parliamentary candidates pass through because, yes, it is that season for the new Patriotic Party. And you'll see quite a number of them pass through before the 27th, which is Saturday. That's also why we're having that conversation later today with Hayford Siao, the Ghana Library Authority's boss. I've been telling them that I find it interesting. I've asked a number of them whether they just want to segue from that to being in Parliament. It's an open space, free for all, but also because they may be assuming that in election 2024, if they lose power,
I don't think
they must find somewhere to.
No, I don't think.
No, relax. They must find somewhere to pledge. So out of government, but still in government somewhere. There's a comment though. Iggy Liberty Kojo Akuche says, "What is this thing about toilets with the MPP?"
Well, it's dignity, because really, I'll tell you something. In Otafo, there's a public toilet, but it's almost a death trap.
Okay, I get it.
And so
you do remind me, though. I don't want us to belabor that point.
No, but it's really dignity. To be honest, if you live in a community, you have a home where you don't have a private place of convenience for yourself, and you need to rush out of your house and be running, holding your stomach, and then you get to the place that you are now trying to do what you have to do privately. I think that the dignity of humanity preserves that every single person, every single household has the uniqueness to easily walk from their room
the former
to their toilet.
Minister for, I believe, is it Works and Housing? Samuel Atachia.
Yes.
He's not contesting.
No, he's not.
This year. But you remember the promise he made about the people of Nima and these toilet facilities and the rest. It appears I guess that is why people are referencing this. There seems to be. By the way, there's a story on myjoyonline.com I'd like you guys to check out by Fentuo Tahiru. Fentuo, we all call him Fent in-house. It's about how the Black Stars could still, with the slimmest of possibilities, because there are 3 other teams with 2 points. And so the hope then is that all of them lose. And that's how we'll qualify. That kind of cardiac mathematics, I don't want to do. So the Black Stars, they are on their own in that exploit. Akumatu mathematics say there, empire me. Anyway, let's get into the newspapers. You have the new finder. Let me just quickly get into the Daily Graphic, and then we can get into other papers. So, ahead of election 2024, be firm, fair, transparent. Reverend Martey charges the EC, and he is General Overseer of Living Streams International. 3 petroleum revenue projects stall. Trade Minister urges Chinese businesses to comply with laws. New Force offers redemptive change. Nana Kwame Bediako says so. And then Africa Cup of Nations delivers goals galore. Picture there, Algeria's Baghdad Boneja. He is joint leading goal scorer with Equatorial Guinea's Emilio Nsue. All right, so let's get into those stories. The General Overseer of the Living Streams International, Reverend Dr. Ebenezer Martey, has urged the Electoral Commission to be firm, fair, and transparent in its activities in the country as the country heads for the December 7 elections. He commended the EC for its previous work, but said the bar going into this year's general election should be raised higher to ensure acceptance and ultimately ensure peace. Reverend Dr. Martey's advice comes as the stakes are higher in the December 7 general election, with the governing New Patriotic Party seeking to go beyond the 8-year ruling cycle and the National Democratic Congress eyeing a comeback after 8 years in opposition. The respected preacher stated that being the gatekeeper, the EC needed to conduct this year's polls in a much more transparent manner to ensure that whoever was declared the winner would be easily accepted by the losing side. Then, let me head to page 13, do 2 stories, and have you come in. So 3 projects partly funded with petroleum revenue in the Greater Accra and Central regions have stalled due to delays in payment. The projects include the rehabilitation of selected roads at Tishi Camp, Southern Command, and MATS, now Ghana Military Academy, and the construction of Tishi Link, both located in the Lejokuku municipality in the Greater Accra region. They also include the Anomabo Fisheries College, which comprises an 18-unit classroom block, hostel facility, administration block, and a laboratory located at Anomabo in the Central region. This came to light when the Public Interest and Accountability Committee inspected selected projects funded with petroleum revenue in the Greater Accra and Central regions. The PIAC said in a statement, the inspection of oil-funded projects undertaken by PIAC is based on information provided by the Ministry of Finance on projects and the accompanying disbursements of petroleum revenue through the ABFA. And the final one I will do on that same page. New Force offers redemptive change, Nana Kwame Bediako. And the founder of the New Force movement, Nana Kwame Bediako, has stated that his mission to contest the 2024 elections is, as an independent candidate, is to offer a redemptive change for the country. The move, he said, was to build a new nation and a new Ghana that offered the youth economic opportunities. There we go. So, be firm, fair, transparent, Reverend Martey to the EC. New Force, he says, is offering redemptive change. You are all for youth in leadership, right? And then petroleum revenue projects stalling. Aren't you for youth in leadership?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a young person. I'm going to...
So what do you think about Nana Kwame Bediako?
He's a Ghanaian citizen.
Right. I mean, what do you think about his desire to lead Ghana? You have this smile. I don't know whether it's a sly smile.
He is a Ghanaian citizen.
No, I'm not asking you about... I'm not contesting his citizenship.
I'm sharing what I think.
Yes.
He's a Ghanaian citizen. The Constitution gives him a right and opportunity to stand for any role in this country, either parliamentary or presidential.
Right.
The Constitution says when you are 40+1, you can put up yourself. And so I think that he's doing what he feels he can do as a Ghanaian citizen.
Wait, did you say 40 plus 1?
What does the Constitution say?
40 and 40
and above. Okay.
You know, when you say 40 plus 1, it means
like
41.
Okay, so 40 and above.
Right.
40 and above, you can stand. So we wish him well. We wish him well. But the New Patriotic Party under the leadership of Alhaji Dr.
Do you think, I know what you...
general election.
But do you think...
say that.
Do you think... No, I know that it's...
No, but then you don't want me... Allow me to complete my statement.
Do you think Nana Kwame Bediako would be a good president?
I reserve my comments on that. I think I have the rights to.
His billboards are all over the place, though. I asked him when he was sitting here, and he said he applied wisdom, and his resources were, acquired through wisdom. I see that the GRA is also going after him for tax purposes. I think some of my questions brought up.
I reserve my comments.
How do you feel about the 3 petroleum revenue projects that have stalled? From the APFA, for some reason, PIAC has noticed there's nothing happening. And let me just cite, so somewhere in Anomabo, then there's Teshi, then there's the other one in the Teshi link. All of these projects have stalled from the APFA. What do you make of it? Then you can add your bit about Reverend Markwei charging the EC to be firm, fair, transparent.
Well, I think that, Benjamin, there are required institutions that must respond to these issues. At this moment, between today, tomorrow, the next, and to Saturday, the focus for me is to win the New Patriotic
So all of a sudden, because you are focusing on the
parliament,
you don't care about these matters?
I do, but I'm just trying to say that the focus for me is to make sure that I deliver the good mandate of winning the parliamentary candidature of Achim Ebuakwa North constituency for the good people of the New Patriotic Party. So I would want to, we'll come back to these issues when I have won and I'm the candidate for the New Patriotic Party and continuing my work as spokesperson on governance and security. I think that Reverend Markwei is a very, very respected preacher of the land. I have known him since the 90s. I remember living streams when we were students at University of Ghana. My siblings were students at University of Ghana. It was a talk of town because then everybody used to go to living streams. He's taking a very fair charge that the Electoral Commission, as an independent state institution and referee, should ensure that we have a very fair, free, transparent electioneering process. And no doubt in my mind that the Electoral Commission would abide to that as the regulations endows them to. And so we would know that the 2024 general election is going to be a very fair one and a very free one.
All right, on the international front, that's how I'll wrap. So you come in with the new finder. Boakai sworn in as new Liberia president. There had to be a pause at some point, the heat and everything. I found it pretty interesting. And it was so narrow. What I'll keep saluting, as someone who has lived in Liberia, who got impacted by the first Liberian Civil War, I don't take it for granted when George Oponwia agrees and steps aside, tells his supporters not to. I found that so, because it's even not so typical of many African leaders. And I'll keep, whenever I mention Joseph Boakai, I'll also mention George Oponwia. I found that, it was so, I'm letting go peacefully. Ethiopians celebrate Timket Festival that marks Jesus' baptism. And then ethnic killings in one Sudan city left up to 15,000 dead. That's according to the UN. That's why we have to tread this ethnic thing very cautiously sometimes, the way we go. And that's why I'm also so concerned about the Baku situation. Every now and then, a spark and Mampuzis and Kusasis and everything in there. Sonko Wade, or Wade, as sometimes said, not listed among presidential candidates. That's in Senegal. But you're a bit of a man of the cloth yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Are you a pastor?
I am. I'm an ordained minister of the Gospel of Jesus Christ.
Okay, which church?
I go to Baptist. Trinity Baptist Church. Yes, I was ordained by Right Reverend Dr. Doug Heward Mills.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
In 2012.
So do you apply as a man of the cloth, do you apply that in your politics?
I do, absolutely. Jesus Christ was a people person. Jesus Christ picked unskilled people to adventure in his ministry. And I lived and worked in Israel for 3 years. So every single thing that you do, and I do, is endeared under the characters and the values of Jesus Christ. It's underpinned very clearly. I might not say Jesus Christ, I might not say Holy Spirit, I might not say God, I might not speak in tongues publicly, but yes, my value system is very clearly out there, which is my strong, unique selling proposition.
Okay, let's get into the New Finder newspaper. I see you've noted some stories.
I have. I think that the New Finder, front page of the News Finder newspaper, Professor Adai emphasizes integrity in media practice. And that's for
which
you.
Which one? You know, there's...
On page 2.
Adai, and then there's Adai Mensah. So I'm sure this is Adai Mensah.
No, this is Professor Stephen Adai. Gimper.
Stephen Adai.
Yes,
Okay.
Stephen Adai, yes. The former Gimper rector.
It's on, yeah.
Yes, so and then the Vice President, 250,000 young people get 660 million Ghana cedis to access dignified and fulfilling jobs. And I'll just read a part of it. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who launched the project, said, now, armed with a budget of 660 million Ghana cedis, the new Biz Box project sets an ambitious goal to empower 250,000 individuals, support 125,000 with startup kits, provide market access support to 50,000 businesses and regulatory support to 40,000 businesses, the Vice President stated. And this is under the Ghana Enterprise Agency and the MasterCard Foundation. That is what the New Finder has for you. The back page is just an advert from EcoBank.
Okay, you just advertised EcoBank.
Well, I have to. It's my bank.
When they are not.
Well, the Finder has bought them, so.
We celebrate them, of course, because we have the Joy News EcoBank Habitat Fair.
Absolutely.
We'll take it like that. Any reflections on these stories? So 250,000 young people get 600 million Ghana cedis. Then there's the bit about Professor Adai emphasizing integrity in media practice, and then fresh shooting in Boku. I started talking about Boku. I had a conversation on this with Professor Inning yesterday, and the police at a point had intercepted a group of people with a hand projectile grenade. Okay, and guess where they were targeting? A filling station. I mean, it's. But another thing I've noticed, and I think I agree with those, including the security analysts and some of those in there who say that it is you, the political parties, who are fueling this, NPP and NDC. You are responsible for it because when this party is in power, you will come and see certain things to this side or that side when that party is in power. So part of the problem, a thick part of the problem, is you, the political parties. And my concern is why? Why would you want to play with something like this, which, if it's looking at the positioning of Boku, looking at what is going on in the sub-region, if insurgents infiltrated, looking at what that would mean for the rest of the country, why?
Benjamin, what we know...
And I'm asking this because you are government spokesperson.
I agree, and I would...
Security as well.
I would respond to that because I have intel on this. You know, Benjamin, what we know about Boku is not what the general public knows. Boku is a very, very unique case and a very, very fragile environment. And the conversations must be held in context of the issues. We are ensuring that peace remains in Boku. We're ensuring that the various ethnic groups who have been at loggerheads for a very long time would be able to meet eye to eye and allow peace to reign. I do not think that any political party or any political actor has aided in the firing up of crisis in Boku.
Trust me, the last time I spoke to different sides, the Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Yariga, on one end, I don't want to mention, and then Mr. Zanga, MCE, on the other end, Stephen Yakubu, Upper East Regional Minister, on the other end. It's a bit difficult not to see, even when you interview these people, that indeed there is some rift in a certain way that is also political. Even from my point, you can sense some of it. It's problematic.
I can understand the political introduction into the Boku crisis, but that's not what it is.
No, I'm not saying that is the problem, because I think this has been around since the 50s or so.
In bringing the context, political actors are state owners who must serve as mediators. And so if you find an MP, you find an MC, you find a regional minister speaking and serving as aid in ensuring that peace remains is not an introduction or infiltration of political actors into the crisis of Boko. But we would ensure that as much as it belongs to us, we would have Boko have a lot more peace. I think that for the 250,000 jobs and funds that is being given to these young people, a lot more jobs given to young people is key for our country. It's key for our democracy. It's key to ensure that the young people have a lot more desire to stay in the country, a lot more desire to live in the country, a lot more desire to work in the country, and a lot more desire to ensure that the funds that are being given to them is being used to the very needed purposes for which they stated that they want to use the funds.
Right.
And I think that Professor Stephen Adai emphasizing integrity in media practice is key. I mean, it's one of the topics that can never be taken out of the classroom of journalism, that journalists must ensure that they are integral in their reportage. I mean, if you're in a hurry to break a news, make sure that you're breaking a news that is factual. You're not breaking a news that is hearsay. You're breaking a news that if you are called to provide the evidence thereof, you will be able to have the very needed evidence to show that this is key. So it's a call in the right direction.
Iggy says, if these young people are going to be paying all of these taxes Ghanaians are bearing, then I can promise that money is already finished before the startup begins. Anyway, but definitely there will be something left to do something. Let's make the most of the last 5 minutes that we have right before we go off. Bank of Ghana to slash policy rate to soften cost of credit. To soften cost of credit. You know, it's hit, and I know people who nowadays will tell you, I simply can't go, because if you look at it, you're looking at 40%. It's inhibitive. Upwards of 30%, then they add their own, there's this thing they use, the banks, a rate, of course, Bank of Ghana, Central Bank, then they also add their rate. You're looking at 40%, no one can borrow. And those of us who have borrowed in the past and are still on, it's a mess, complete mess, but only God knows how we make it out month on month. So the cost of borrowing by individuals, households, and the private sector is expected to drop as the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana prepares to slash the policy rate for the next couple of months. This is due to the continuous decline in year-on-year inflation and a relative stability of the cedi. Year-on-year inflation has dropped 5 consecutive times, which may influence the decision of the 7-member committee of the MPC to slash the policy rate by 200 basis points or more when the committee begins to meet this week. Then EIU expresses doubt over negotiation with creditors. I found this interesting. The Economist Intelligence Unit has expressed doubt with Government of Ghana's ability to conclude negotiations with private creditors by the mid-year of 2024, thereby advising the government to be cautious with the negotiations with private creditors or Eurobond holders. You know, the Eurobond holders hold the highest bit of our debt as far as that external component is concerned. Now, the unit indicated that these creditors were likely to demand distinct and intricate restructuring terms compared to bilateral creditors. This comes after Ghana's Finance Ministry announced the government's intention to initiate negotiations with Eurobond holders and commercial creditors seeking a 40% haircut on coupons. Yeah, those are some of the stories there. Any reactions, Paul Grave? Oh, let me add this one. Commercial transport operators hike fares by 30%.
Benjamin, it's a new year. It's an election week for me. This week, my focus is on my constituency.
So your constituents, right?
Yes.
Your constituents.
My focus is on my constituency.
Mr. Yafosin, I want the cameras to be on us at this point.
The people of Otafo, the people of New Tafo, the people of Kokrotumi,
the people of Abokwa North also bought vehicles. They bought public transport. It's going. This bit about a threat of 30%. It affects them. If the Bank of Ghana slashes the policy rate, there are people there who borrow. It will impact them positively. And this bit's about negotiation with creditors.
Benjamin, you know, this week my focus is on the good people of Ebuakwa North constituency. I'll tell you something. See, I bought Bofruit in my constituency about 2 weeks ago. It was for 3 Ghana cedis. Okay. And I bought Coca-Cola at Wafaya store. And then I bought granite. So I asked the Bofruit seller, when did you fry this Bofruit? He said, I fried it a day before. And as I was buying the bull float, it was 4 o'clock. It was left with 10 in the sieve. When I opened the bull float, I saw miracles in it. But I ate it anyway because I was hungry. Then whilst I was driving to another destination to engage in my one-on-one, I was like, hey, if bull float cannot be finished in a previous day and be sent to a second day, and the possibility of going to a third day, this borrowing you're talking about, I don't think the people in my constituency, they borrow. I don't think.
You know all the people in your constituency.
Oh, I don't know all the people in my constituency, but at least I can tell you that you will not have a lot of them.
Okay.
I mean, coming into the banking sector.
So you say you are focusing on
we have savings and loans.
I understand you. We have
savings and loans.
We have to go for Mubarak Haruna and his team to come to us with sports. We'll take a break and they'll come. But Kofi Ofosu-Hene, this is how I'll wrap, and then I'll take 20 seconds of your comments to your constituency.
My delegates.
Kofi Ofosu-Hene says there is no difference between the Black Stars management team and the economic management team. Chris Houghton is equal to Baumia. That's what he says. Your final words for your constituents.
My delegates. In a few days, you're about to make one of the most important decisions in your life. I've heard all the conversations that has gone on. Even children have heard that it has to change. The power is in your hands. I'm on number 2 on the ballot. Make a concrete decision to bring a visionary leader, a caring leader, a loving leader, a leader that is available, a leader that is faithful, teachable, enthusiastic, a leader that is relational, a leader that has love, a leader that wants to see that the constituency grows, a leader that wants to bring a lot more development into the constituency, give young people an opportunity, and give them a vision of the future. Vote number 2, and I'm certain that you will all vote for me to become the candidate of the New Patriotic Party in Ebuakwa North constituency. I really want to thank you as well.
Thank you, Paul,
for voting for me. And Benjamin, you will be the first person who will interview me on Monday, 29th, here in your studio.
That is if my colleagues don't call you first, because with the political desk and everything. If you do win,
I would win.
If you do win,
when I win.
If you do win,
when I win,
it's likely our people, election headquarters, political desk, and all of that, they would likely reach out to you before I come. But we'll see about that interview.
Absolutely,
we'll see about that.
Thank you, and I'll tell you how I won.
Okay,
I will not share all the strategies. But when you are done, then you share a few. When I'm done, I'll just share a few.
All right.
Of how I won.
Paul Dankwa is gunning for the NPP's parliamentary candidacy in Ebuakwa North. He joined us for the news review this morning. Like I said, we're doing all of this in anticipation of the 27th, D-Day, Saturday, when those parliamentary primaries will be held. Right before we veer into sport, and you know the number one issue we're discussing today, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to serve you the news review every morning. They're offering prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa and Esiamansama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But for me, I still can't understand. 70th goes up, 90th minute, 2 goes up, 91st minute goal, 94th minute goal. Mubarak Haruna is up next with sports. Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to get into the big stories. And some parts of the Greater Accra region, the Central region, have faced water shortages. Where I am, water has flowed only once in over a week. But is there anything to this? Is there any explanation, so to speak? And from wherever you are, let us know what has been your water supply situation in your community. Well, joining us for a conversation on that, the Director of Communication with the Ghana Water Company Limited. I'm talking about Mr. Stanley Martey. I've spoken to this man for God knows how long when it comes to water matters. You know, it's good to have you smiling and everything. I want to start on a bit of a different note. Did you watch the Black Stars match yesterday?
Yes, I did. And it was heartbreaking.
Your reaction?
And especially when we all felt that this one, as for this one, that we have sealed.
This one, dear.
This one, dear. Unfortunately, it happened. But, well, maybe God knows best.
The pundits say that there is still the slimmest of chances that we could qualify. There are 3 teams, Algeria among others, on 2 points. But they have a game in hand.
Yes.
So we must pray that when they play, they lose. Why do we do this to ourselves? But I feel it's a cost-cutting measure.
It's sad. It's sad. And I think if we do real analysis, we'll realize where the problem with our football team, what the problems are, and really.
Do you see any of those problems?
It's like we know, but we are unable to be sincere with ourselves and to do what they do.
You've watched football for a long time. What do you see to be some of the problems?
I think we should have a genuine heart to serve Mother Ghana, a genuine heart to do genuine things.
You think that patriotism is not really?
I don't think.
You know something I noticed yesterday that I was sharing?
About money.
90s, early 2000s, you would still have Black Stars playing. Listen, even if you were asleep and the team scored.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday when we were scoring, there's only one family in my community. I could hear because I know where they are. They were the only ones shouting.
Just like mine. You know, there's
one family. That's it. No one was bothered.
It's sad. But let's see. We'll keep praying for them and hope that at least we'll all have that God-fearing attitude towards serving our mother Ghana, and then I think we can get the best out of it. Yeah.
Let's talk water. Some people are asking, yes, you know why.
Before we go on, you know, I watched these social media short videos, and the former coach, assistant coach, also was talking about the team.
Which one are you referring to?
I've forgotten the name, but the former coach, old one. No, not Kwesi Appiah. No, I think an old coach. And he was talking about the fact that a coach goes to the stadium and there will be a team list from elsewhere, not from the training grounds. A team list from somewhere for you to feature. If that thing is still happening, then there's no way we'll move forward. You know, let's get the right people to play. So if you're just thinking about what we are going to get because we hold power, and so we just put in our players, whether they are good or not, then how can we move forward? So we may have to pay attention to some of these things. Let's find out from all the past coaches. I wonder whether we did any interviews with them to find out what actually were the cause of their failures or inability to win Ghana laurels. Right. And then maybe if we tackle it genuinely, I'm sure we'll be able to make some headway. Yeah. Because those times when we're winning those laurels, I don't think the people were money conscious. Not at all. I mean, everybody gave out himself, you know, and so we won those laurels.
Play
but
for
now,
until we had to fly money to, you know. Anyway. It is what it is. Now, you know, Stanley Martey, that's the question on, like I said, for personal reasons, I usually don't talk about where I live, but I've not had water. It's flowed once in over a week, which has made things pretty turbulent. So you must be on hand to harvest water when it's there. I have barrels, else you need tank. And here in Accra and in some parts of the central region, some things have been happening. What is happening?
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful for giving me this opportunity so that we could have discussions on water. And I wasn't going to miss this opportunity at all. And, you know, somewhere in November, or let me start with the fact that most of our equipments are very old. So we have been, you know, managing them. We have very stringent standard operating procedures. Our maintenance culture and everything you don't joke with at all. I mean, somebody could lose his job by failing to do what is expected of him. So that is one way that we're managing these old dilapidated equipments and stuff that we use. So somewhere in November 2023, one of our pumps at Wager gave way. And so we had to work. It was very difficult putting that old pump back in operation, but we managed to do that. And we needed to do that before the Yuletide. So we did everything possible, and then we managed to put it back. I mean, and we did a yeoman's job. I mean, I was there throughout with our engineers working on these pumps, and I know what we all went through. So we managed to put it back. And during the holidays, while people were enjoying, I mean, we're always and constantly monitoring these pumps to ensure that they operated at least for people to enjoy the Yuletide. Around that same time, we had some challenges with Bong as well, but we managed Bong too. So, but then we're still not getting enough water from Bong. So we realized that somewhere after Christmas, 27, 28, thereabout, the system became a bit jittery. But we were still working hard to ensure that water got to every home. And so immediately after the new year, we had to shut down the Bone treatment plant, so that we could work on that. What happened was that after the spillage from the Kosovo Dam, a lot of debris and sludge and aquatic weeds were washed from upstream to downstream, and our intake point is downstream the Kosovo Dam. And the force to which our pumps abstract the water into the treatment plant abstracted a lot of these debris and sludge and water hyacinths and stuff into the sump. So then the whole line was choked, and as a result, we were not able to abstract enough for treatment. And these things cannot be removed set by doing it manually. So we needed to shut down the pond treatment plant, and then we got our divers to go into the pipelines and to get all the debris out, everything we needed to wash so that at least we can produce our full capacity. So we gave ourselves 2 days to do that, and within the 2 days we were able to do it. Now, we also planned such that during the 2 days, some maintenance work that needed to be done on the plant will also be done. So we also changed a section of the weaker portions of the transmission line from Bong into Tema. And then we also had to change some valves at our Dodowa booster station and all that. So the entire eastern part of Accra was without water for that 2 days. But prior to that, because we were unable to treat our full capacity, because we're not getting very high volumes, the system was not too good. So then when we shut down, the system dried up entirely. And then we finished after 2 days, only to face some minor challenges and entered into the third day. But then we restored supply at full capacity on Thursday. So within some 4 or 5 days, the system on the eastern part has stabilized. And then immediately after we were done with that, then Wager went off again. Same pump that we had a challenge with in November. And then we have to work on it. You know, because they are old and the pumps are not even in, the manufacturers are not even in existence any longer. Anytime there's a fault, then we need to improvise or do whatever we can to put it back in. We wouldn't even get the parts. But fortunately, we had to import some from somewhere, and thankfully yesterday we had it. Immediately we had we put everything back, fixed it, and then we started full operation. So thankfully we are operating full capacity in Bong, we're operating full capacity in Wager. The desalination plant is not giving us enough, but at least it is good to serve that tertiary enclave. We are augmenting that with some water from our Tema booster station. And so we are hopeful that by this weekend, the system should stabilize. The system should be fine from today or from tomorrow. But by the weekend, we should see that stability after a full rationing program. We are still running our rationing program.
You're still rationing water. In which areas are you rationing?
It's the entire Accra.
The whole of Accra.
The whole of Accra. Some people may have more number of days than others by virtue of their proximity to maybe our main lines and all that. So some will get like 5 days, some will get like 6 days, some will get like 2 days. Averagely, the rationing program is 4 days within the system.
That may explain why for over a week water has come through my end only once.
But prior to all these challenges, were you getting regular flow, or you were getting water on specific days?
Every maximum every 3 to 4 days.
Yes.
We would have every 3 days thereabouts. Now it's so you can say you've added on another 3 to 4 days to that cycle.
Yes. So now that the system, we expect the system to stabilize by the weekend. I'm sure the flow will be better from next week. But the other challenges are that we are also entering into the dry season. The dry season comes with its own challenges. So I want to appeal to the general public that they should bear with us. Let us conserve water. Let us use water responsibly and wisely, so that at least we all can, survive till we enter into the rainy season. But we are doing everything possible to ensure that the dry season impact is not felt. But we still will have to prepare.
So in the dry season, what usually happens? I know, but you tell the people what happens.
So dry season, most of our river bodies will dry up, and then humidity goes high because of the pollution. Because if the water is little and they still keep agitating the alluvial soil, then it means that we are going to see higher turbidity than we are seeing now. And in some areas, it will dry up entirely. We'll do everything possible to ensure. Now, what we are doing is to dredge some of the intake areas so that we can store more water while we are in the dry season, so that we can still have water for treatment. So we are investing a lot into that area. In Accra, for instance, we are also putting back one of our very old treatment plants that has been abandoned. So Akbon is a very old, those times during Gordonsberg's period. And so we are changing pumps, we are rehabilitating the structure and all that, so that we can also get more water into the system. So we are just hopeful that things will go well as planned and as we work towards our targets.
You say so now, just for the benefit of those watching us, Bong and Wager are operating or will be operating at full capacity.
They are operating at full capacity currently.
They are operating at full capacity
because of the challenges that we faced in the last few days. It will take a bit of time for the system to stabilize.
Okay,
because we are running a rationing program, it will take a while for the rationing cycle to end. So by the time the rationing cycle ends, everybody.
When do you forecast the rationing cycle should maximum?
No, the rationing cycle is within a year. Within a week.
Right.
So in every week, everybody gets at least a number of days of water.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I think you said something about it's ending, right?
No, it can't end now until we expand our treatment plants or we build a new one. Now, if you look at the volumes of water that we produce in Accra daily, vis-a-vis the demand or the population size, okay, the gap is around 50 million gallons of water on daily basis. The 50 million gallons of water, then we need a new treatment
plant. That is
plant.
if you were giving everybody water. To meet the demands of Accra?
Not everybody. To meet the demand of Accra, not everybody, because a lot of people are staying beyond the service jurisdiction.
Okay.
And they do not have pipelines. If you do not have pipelines extended to where you live, then it becomes a bit difficult. Because if you look at the peripheries of Accra, most areas do not have pipelines there. And some areas fall within rural areas, which community water will have to take charge of that. So then if you fall within or beyond the service jurisdiction, then we can't do much until pipelines are extended to your area. So we can't count you as part of those that we have now. And
some bills, people say that your bills are... There's this comment. Shant King says, no water at NTHC states around school junction since December 2023. What at all is the problem? Will you bring bills even without providing us with water?
Yes, we will bring the bills. We will bring the bills because, one, we have a contract with our customers to serve them and to issue them bills at the end of every month. And so the bills will come whether there's water or not.
So what will such bills reflect when no water has passed?
So
through
when
there?
no water, then the consumption for that particular month will be zero, and it will be indicated that it's zero. Okay. But you may have arrears.
Okay.
So then the arrears will add up to your zero.
So for someone who is up to date in payments, what will show on
to
that
reflect
bill?
zero. The others will even have credit, so it will show that you have credit of a certain amount. So the bills will come. But the mistake that people do is that our system is a post-pay system. So you consume the water before we bill you to pay. And so when they consume the water, let's say in a month they consume water for 2 weeks or for 3 weeks, and there's no water for a week, and they come to say that water is not flowing. Why do you want me to? Why are you sending me bills? But you may have forgotten that it is a 30-day cycle. So within that 30 days, you may have consumed water. And then we bill our customers through our meters. And our meters read your consumption. So you are billed according to your consumption on a meter. So if no water has gone through the meter, then it won't read. So it will read zero. But if the meter has read a certain figure, then you may have consumed some water. So even if I'm not there, the only thing is I just have to come and look at the meter because we only operate with the meters. You understand? So we only come and look at the meter, and what the meter says is what we will work with. You understand? So people should appreciate the fact that we only use the meter. And then there are other customers who are also built on estimates. So you may not have a meter, and you'll be billed on a certain amount every month. Now that is also another contract, such that if the water is flowing and you consume more than that amount, we can't fault you or say that you have consumed more, so we are going to bill you more. We'll bill you the same figure. And if in a particular month or in the event where you consume less or water do not flow at all, you still will have to pay because that is the agreement between us. If you do not appreciate that agreement, the only thing is to apply to Ghana Water. We'll assess your situation, whether you need a meter or not. Because most people who are built on estimates are built on estimates based on a certain history.
Okay. History of consumption.
Yes.
All right. So just on this point, lest I forget, can we expect any water shortages for any reasons in the coming weeks, for example? Is there anything Ghanaians should know? I mean, when it comes to electricity, for example, sometimes people, go up in arms or get up in arms because they think, but there's a lot of off and on, off and on. If there's a cycle, just let me know so that maybe I operate a cold store. I know that today something, then I know what to. Don't play these tricks with me. Yeah. Do you have any roadmap? Do you foresee that in certain communities there will not be water for a while?
Our products are two different products.
No, I was just looking at that comparison
and
in terms of
for us, our source is the raw water that we abstract for treatment. The other aspect is the capacity of our treatment plants. Okay, so every day the capacity of the treatment plant can produce a certain volume of water. Beyond that, then we need to expand. But since we haven't had any expansion, every treatment plant will be able to treat a certain volume of water. But we are working with equipment, okay? Just like even human beings, we can fall sick at any time. These equipments can also give way at any time. And we have admitted and informed the public that most of our equipments are quite old. So there's the possibility of they giving way at any time. But we have put in very strict maintenance culture, very strict standard operating procedures, such that we envisage that if you are following the way we should extend the lifespan of these equipment, or we should manage them. We should be able to manage them to operate, at least to serve us the way the way we want. So I can't sit here and give a definite answer that with what we have done, we are not going to face any challenge again for a year or for 2 years. You understand? Because anything at all can happen. When we finished
so you're addressing the other aspect of my question. I was actually asking, do you foresee that there could be still some shortages in the coming weeks and months? I'm not even asking about whether there will be no shortages. I'm asking whether, do you foresee that there could be?
That is bound to happen.
It's bound to happen.
Yes, and that is why I picked my
from the reverse position.
Yes.
Okay.
That it is bound to happen based on our situation, our old equipment and blah blah blah, and all that. But I'm trying to give our consumers some assurance that we are doing everything possible to have the pumps running, so that we can have a continuous flow. But I don't want to assure them that it will never happen, because it is not possible.
Okay, so Mr. Martey says measure your whatever, because shortages are bound to happen. But they are working assiduously, getting new equipment, and even working on the older ones to ensure that service continues.
One thing that
and
we
of course,
can help ourselves
the dry
with,
season and everything.
One thing that we can help ourselves with is to have enough storage. So if you have a storage capacity that can take you, let's say, a week or two,
right,
then you wouldn't feel the impact.
I mean, I have to use, like I said, I have to use some storage systems, including gallons as well, to ensure that when the water passes through, you harvest at least what can last you about, like you said, about a week
or two.
So that even if the water is not flowing for a week, your normal basic processes, a little washing here, a little using of the lavatory.
I had to save for about 6 to 7 months to enable me to get a poly tank.
Wow.
Okay, and that storage can take me and my family. We are just 4 at home. Okay. So my family about 2 weeks. So then if within the 2 weeks I'm getting water, then it will be topping up. So then I don't feel the impact when when the rationing program is on. So let's all do that. I mean, we may not all have the resources to get it at once, but like I did, I didn't have the resources, but I made a conscious effort at getting that storage. So for 7 months, I was saving a certain amount of money to enable me to get that reservoir.
On the back of that improvisation that you spoke of, yes, you've got some new equipment, but how much more improvisation are you having to do? I mean, is this a lot going on? Is there a lot going on in terms of improvising? Because then there's also the picture of the fact that there's a lot of equipment we really need to move over from.
Mm-hmm. And we are also making a conscious effort at changing all those old pumps. Now, we can't always be relying on government. So, for instance, last year, we had a target to change some of these equipment, but where is the money going to come from? So you realize that the whole of last year we're out there collecting money from our customers. Instead of they paying, we still had to spend some resources to go out chasing them for them to pay, so that we will have money to extend pipelines, to change these pumps and all that. Because some of the pipelines are also very old and they've been encrusted. So some of them do not even have the inner diameter, the way it is, because it's been
for the
water to flow. And we need to change them and all that. So we worked really hard last year. And I want to encourage everybody. I mean, Ghana Water is a state agency, and so it belongs to all of us. We are the sole water producers, and so we all will have to support the organization to enable it function for ourselves. Okay, so the least you can do is to just pay our bills promptly, no matter how small it is. If you look at the sub-region, you realize that our tariffs are not too good, but very cheap for water is very cheap for about the cheapest within the sub-region. So that people should cultivate the culture of paying their bills regularly and promptly, so that we can also save that little, and then even save some money also from going to them to collect the money. We have invested a lot into technology so that to make it be easier for our customers to pay their bills, and it's still being difficult. For instance, we have the customer app, which everybody can download on Google Play Store or App Store, interact with the Ghana Water Company Limited, check on your bills, pay through the app. You can pay through Momo in the comfort of your home at any time T and from any part of this or any part of the globe. So we should be able to, I mean, do that and save Ghana Water Company Limited. If it hadn't been for very good and prudent management of the company, I don't know where we would have been. By now.
Let's talk about revenue losses. What is the state of the losses in terms of revenue?
Because our system is a post-paid system, to be a bit difficult for me to mention figures now, because almost every day, every month, there's add-on and arrears, and people need to pay. But what we are doing is to make it easier for people to pay. So we expect people to, but people are owing us, our customers are owing us. As at somewhere November, our customers were owing us close to 900 million cedis. You know, that's a huge amount of money.
That's almost a billion cedis.
Yes. And they need to pay. It's not like people can have. There are people who are owing 50 cedis, 100 cedis, and all that. You know, because water is cheap. I mean, people's monthly bills are somewhere sometimes, especially for domestic consumers, are most of the time less than 200 cedis. So people just assume that, oh, really is small. Let me hold on to the next month or 2 months after. In holding on one, that cumulative amount becomes big, and then maybe you may not be able to pay outright. But then the thing is, the impact is on the GWCL, because we need that money on a monthly basis to buy chemicals and to do everything that we need to do. Look at the dilapidated vehicles that we are using. They're putting our lives at risk to save Mother Ghana. And people can only reciprocate by paying their bills promptly, so that at least we can also...
I know you have to go. Before I cross over to my colleague, Sweetie Abochi, who's somewhere in Fadama, on the same water issue. Just a quick one. We are also hearing that a lot of your meters are getting missing, especially in the Bono region. Quickly on that. What was the state of that? It is
not only the Bono region, it's throughout the country. You know, it's made of brass. Our old mechanical meters are made of brass.
I see why they...
So people still, and they just put in, just throw away the mechanism, and then go use their brass for whatever they want to use for.
Okay.
Use them for. But what we are doing now is to change them into plastic meters. So all our suppliers now are serving us with plastic meters. But we are, most importantly, we are moving into digital smart meters, which cannot be used for anything. With the components in that smart meter, you can't use it for anything, except it's expensive. But we are still investing into that to ensure that is stopped.
Right.
But we also need to be mindful and watchful of the meters, so that we'll stop the stealing of the meter. They are quite expensive,
so
and it's affecting us.
All right.
And at least apart from this stealing the meter, where they just remove the meter and then the water will just go waste for hours before. But if you do it at midnight, you only see it in the morning, which means that the water may have just gone waste for about 3 to 5 hours, which is also not the best.
All of us must also be responsible. Stanley Martey, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Of course, he is Director of Communications. Is that the proper title?
Yes.
Director of Communications at the Ghana Water Company Limited. Well, now we cross over to Fadama, and guess what? Sweetie Abochi is there. What is the water situation? Sweetie will be sharing as she interacts with members of that community. Sweetie, over to you.
It's by shortage of water, and the Ghana Company Limited is attributing this water crisis to the overpopulation of the region. Here in Fadama, we are trying to have an accurate assessment of the situation on ground. We are told that not only is this affecting the running of homes, but the running of businesses. Let's go in now and speak to Sharifa, who tells us that her mother's business has been hugely affected by this water crisis. Good morning, Sharifa. How are you? Can I just sit beside you there? So tell me, how is this water crisis affecting you?
It's affecting us very much because the water, it's been 3 weeks now, almost 3 weeks. We've not get access to pipe water, but for the sake of wells around, we are okay when it comes to this area, and people are even taking advantage of selling them, which is bad. So we need the Ghana Water Company to help us. It's really bad. If not because of the war, we'll be roaming searching for water.
You said your mother sells water. The business in this house is the selling of water to the neighbors here. How bad has the situation gotten because there's no water running anymore?
Yes, due to this water problem, my mother has lost all her customers. 3 weeks now, my mother has not sold water. So the company that has been bringing the water also, they don't, even when we call them, they don't pick it. Because I don't know the reason. I'm sure it's because of the water, so the shortage of the water. So I think they should do something about it, because she's old, 60-something years. She can't carry things around. She's at home selling water. So if this water situation is coming up, it will affect her very bad. She also wants to work. She doesn't want to be idle. So it's very bad. It's very bad. It's not good at all.
The people who sell water to you, are they selling it at normal prices, or have the prices increased because of the shortage?
So far, they've not come yet, so we don't know. We don't have any knowledge about that.
Sharifa, thank you for sharing your story with us. Now, outside, we have some other people gathered to tell us how they are also affected by the situation. We are speaking now to some elderly members of the community who are quite upset that the situation has gotten this bad. Stay with me for a second. Let me walk to them and let's... But before that, sorry, here is a businesswoman who was telling us before we joined the feed that she also has a situation with the water situation. Auntie, now Kashra is saying, please, this is your microphone. Tell us your story.
It's only 2 weeks in the Amma. Ya brasa mumbi nsori me na ye bre enye bula krank enye nsokran ye aduane ye bre pa nsuo na emba 2 weeks ni emba nti mumwa emaboa yen ye hia mo pa
nti nsuo mo to nsuo de ye aduane ana mo ya den na mo survive without
topia water na de ye aduane na de bula na adware.
Economically, no, how is this affecting you?
Den pa aduane ko enye bindi na ye ska so akoto nsuo nti mumwa yen na ye den na ye bre.
All right, thank you. So I'm walking to the community, the elders in the community who are gathered right ahead of me. Now, although the Ghana Water Company Limited says this situation will be resolved by Wednesday, tomorrow, the citizens are not particularly happy about it because they have to buy water. You know, the economy is hard already, and then if you have to buy water, which is a necessity for everything, whether it's a home you're running or a business, you need water. So let's get to people now as they share their story with us. Hello. Good morning. Okay. Ago. Oh, good morning. We are told that you are also adversely oh, no problem. Kasabia beso can be abetimiaka. Kafante kanya pesa microphone where wodia. Yepese yete o problems, you know, send a situation no affect you. Inti ka sorry chain.
Hey, and so the situation then grow. Water closet, ebasa. Water closet ebasa, yen to me flash. Once if ye be ebasa. Kitchen. Baby, and so the life. And so your life. Into say, I say, and so no emba. Nyoma be brave, say. If ye and ye neat, and nyoma be brave, about my yarrow crabber. Oh, into near can say, oh, mana, and so no time be en flow. Ye chiaka, into why there I didn't get chiaka. Now, Babana, meet a neighborhood. Babana, if you had no emba.
See, I'm where Dana will survive. How do you go about your daily life without the water?
Without the water, you know, I have no person, no, you was safety tank, one auntie and day. First, ye chimbu gumna. Around surrounding no, bonehole, and should be almost for fun and yasam kitwa. And yakra, my mammy, the many who should be uncle for what dear wajuma, and you're fine. And you're fine, cry.
You, Poppy, it's your time now to tell us what your story is.
Master say, send your water was from Omuyeno, and yet, ensure young qua. Oh, now ensure young qua, nothing what to papum, but say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and yes, you, Omobia papon, so I just anajo. And I don't be a nippon wire, wada, or better and was sort of anajuna consents you. Obeka can on to a good best 2 hours no matter atum. Oh, until I don't know, I'm not dinting Mukuno home. A yanome. I'm not for Kenya. My mom can say politics into your fair at the whole town. Oh, I'm not sure can't tell me and yanqua, and say yanqua. You say yanqua, mamma and friends, so you know, Union soon yahi. Oh, Union soon, I don't know, can't show Papa will be a woman area. Oh, no Munana, you know, will be a nipa the boy or Yarimpo or Yara Obeda consents you. Obeda Benya necessary to Papanum. On to Mukancho, Sadio, and I thought, let me get on Betty. And Mutie in Fakumasum. Now, my dear Muyano, and yet the whole cham, but Chamuka. Oh, Mufisa Muyana, Nana Muyano, Muyana, Moye. Was no on Consu. Oh, tell you, young, so you be on your Bibia. Now, Mutum, they are watching, just a bread at the whole cham, but Chawaka, Nanosi.
Yo, yeah, that's it. There's one more person before we wrap this up. Hello, Auntie. In your situation, no, you know, him say you're bad. And now, Omaka bebre, if I say ni for you soon, you are enye. Eddie Adrian, and ya de, Emma, if you're fine. Then I'll walk home.
No, count there, in suit will fear ye. In suit will fear ye, papa. Your son, a papa, quarter to Subeda Pebby. Who fear myself, shouldn't more home. Who fear myself, this is the will fear ye. The suit will fear pa.
Yo, yeah, that's it. Well, so this is the situation here in Fadama. Most people came out to talk to us, but some of them are camera shy, and so they didn't want to talk to us on camera. But it appears that for 3 weeks now, the entire neighborhood have been struggling with water, and they've been using boreholes and other sources of water, which is not the best. So this is the situation on ground, as said by the citizens. Over to you in the studio.
Hearing it in there, so that's all. Welcome back. You see me beaming with smiles because I'm looking at some of these homes that we're going to be talking about shortly and wondering, D for the thing, like Muftar Nabila Abdullah would say. But we have joining us in the studio a gentleman and a lady from Special Homes. And today they're going to be telling us about Special Gardens. I was just having fun with them, telling them that, look, at some point, some of us would want to move into some of these homes. It's only a matter of time. But here we are. We have joining the conversation Ransford Amu, Sales Consultant, Special Gardens. We also have Ruth Amwa, Assistant Sales Manager, Special Gardens. It's a special conversation we're about to have. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right. So let me start with you, Ransford. First off, I know we're talking about Special Gardens, but I want you to tell us a bit about Special Homes and what you do.
Yes. So Special Homes is actually the main company. Special Homes, our first development is Special Gardens. However, Special Homes this is not going to be the first thing they've done in general. Special Homes is part of a group of companies called Special Investment Real Estate Developers. And we also have other special related companies like Special Eyes and other things all around that area, if you are familiar with that area, on the area.
I've seen something special. I don't know whether it's in or somewhere of the sort.
Yes, so we have there's a lot of special buildings. This is all owned by Dr. Ofori Sapon.
Right.
And most of the special group of companies are already affiliated with. Special Homes is new and unique in the sense that it's a newly minted company that will focus on mid-market homes. And that's why Special Gardens are made in development in that perspective. Most of the time, Special Investment builds bigger homes in airports, cantonments, Jowlu, and East Legon. Majority of their homes in East Legon. Those are bigger, detached, big houses on its own.
Right.
But we're looking at how do we get to the mid-markets or kind of the middle income group, and Special Gardens is kind of the maiden development for that.
Okay, so let me come to you, Ruth. Special Gardens. You have all the different tiers in there, but Special Gardens, what makes it special? What makes it unique? What makes it stand out?
Okay, so Special Gardens is a premier gated community. We consist of a 2, 3, and 4 bedroom townhomes and 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, which is located in the Adenta Oyarefa enclave.
Okay.
So what makes it special is we are not just buying the home, we are actually buying into a whole community, which has a functioning pharmacy, grocery shop, retail space, ATMs, and the likes. And also, one good thing is that we actually have a garden bed at the back of every resident's backyard, which allows them to plant at their backyard. So we're actually promoting subsistence living in the community. Yes.
That's interesting. So, luxury kakra, mid-level luxury kakra. Yes. Planting also kakra, gardening kakra, you're protecting the environment at the same time.
I mean, I think one of the biggest things we believe, and if I remember my childhood days, well, if you remember, every time you go to the village with your parents, what you remember very well is, going to pluck some onions and tomatoes and then they grinding it and doing some egg stew right there and there. It's always memorable when you remember the village, that's what it is. But we are back in the city, we are trying to do modern living, but how do we also remember what makes a home, memorable? And that's what Special Garden is all about. It's about memorable living. And we think if you can have that garden bed at the back of your yard and grow some vegetables, some easy to plant stuff, and make your kids kind of enjoy it right from the back of your home, that would be interesting. And so that's why we're bringing a mix of the new and the old.
All right. So we're looking at footage from some of your buildings right now, and they look lovely, actually.
Thank you.
You say they're memorable living. But tell me, so looking at the quality we're seeing, who's your contractor, at least for this project, and how does that impact cost? Because right now...
So I think first is because our maiden developments, we decided to put money on the back end for a minute. We look at quality. And
so you're not chasing profit, so to speak.
Well, I mean,
not so much.
We're still a business, but sometimes you have to start somewhere to get somewhere, right? Yeah. And I always say there's always a loss leader in your business. You have to figure out what makes you start well, so then you become the leader around certain things. So we looked at who are the contractors that will have the values we share and who are doing iconic things around the country. And Micheletti became a big one for us. So it's kind of think of it as this Micheletti who builds high-end homes, but then we are trying to bring them to do mid-market homes. So we kind of negotiated for a bit, but again, we didn't focus on the money. We said whatever it has to take to get us the right partners will do that. And we also have other contractors on site as well. We have A-Steel who's helping us with the infrastructure and roads, and we have other subcontractors we're working with. But we are learning from one of the best, and we are putting one of the best contractors in place with it. So yes, we are getting the very best of it. In terms of price, because it's our first development, we're trying to be very reasonable in terms of price, and we are modest about it. I always say, if I tell you the price, you think you're buying a Toyota, but when you get there, it's a Benz.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing against Toyota.
But even there, it depends on what brand of Toyota you are getting.
Well, yes.
But that's interesting. I mean, once I saw Micheletti, or once you made mention of that, this is top tier, top end.
Correct.
But you're still making it moderate for the ordinary Ghanaian.
Correct.
So what facilities do you have? You have condos. Give us the different dimensions. Ruth, tell us a bit about that, and then we can also get into the cost of it. Sure. Keep our eye on the ball. Ruth?
Okay, so we have the condo block, which consists of 1-bedroom condo, 2-bedroom condo, and a loft. So there are about 30 units in all.
Okay.
And the townhome.
But you say loft, some people would still want, here. So how would you explain some of these so that our viewers can understand what exactly?
So loft is like, let's say, the living area, kitchen, dining, everything is on the ground floor, and the room upstairs. So you get like a floor.
So like a duplex.
Yes,
so it's the same apartment, but you have
Yes.
kind of your own private stairs to your bedroom upstairs. Yes.
That's a lot. And the townhomes, we have 2 beds, 3 beds, and 4 bedrooms. So we have a terrace block that consists of 2 bedrooms, which are in the middle, and 3 bedrooms at the ends. We call that the end units, 3-bed end units. We also have a 3-bedroom semi-detached, and also 4-bedroom semi-detached and 4-bedroom detached. Yes, so those are the unit types we have in the community.
Okay. Yes. Anything else to add before we get to the cost?
I think ideally it's also about the units, but also about we're trying to build a community. So we have very unique features that we bring to the community as well. Again, Special Gardens for a reason. We're adding gardens to every aspect of the community as much as we can.
Right.
And so that garden feature is kind of the hallmark of what we're trying to do. That's one. And we are building a clubhouse and kind of a small community area as well, where people can actually gather together by a poolside, have a barbecue, enjoy life as well. Very interesting feature we're also bringing to bear and working hard towards it is actually a digital fitness center. So how do we make a fitness center that doesn't look like, oh, the macho men only there, and then the ladies and the children don't feel like being part of it? We're going digital in that respect. So these are things that you can just pull a slide string and say, press a glass thing and says, I want the weight to be this weight, and the weight goes that way. So we're bringing that to bear as well. But we also have a condo area, and the need will be the retail area. We have a mini grocery store, a pharmacy, like she mentioned, area. We have one of the unique things we are doing is we are consumer-centric. So we focus on what the consumers want, and that's how some of the professionals brought in place help to do. So what are we doing different? We realize that, look, you've bought your house, you're enjoying life, but you're busy every day. Sometimes you just want to go out one night with your wife and, have a dinner. But you have a 7-year-old or a 2-year-old. What do you do? So we are bringing in place a child minding center, which is like a daycare, but it's a child minding center almost 24/7 for the community, so that if you want to go somewhere, you can bring your child there. They get to enjoy some games, learn at the same time, do everything they can do, and you can go have dinner and then come back home and be more relaxed and get your child back, or even help you take care of the child and get him to bed within the community as well. So there are a few unique features we brought to bear, learning from what has happened before, learning from what people need, and making sure that's all part of the community. That's what makes Special Garden special, and that's what we're bringing to bear for you.
All right, Ruth, if someone wants to book a tour, wants to come see, because usually they say seeing is believing. They are seeing it on TV, but they want to come and feel it, touch it, and all of that. How do they go about it?
Okay, so you can visit our website, which is www.specialhomeslimited.com. And
can you repeat that?
Yes, we have our contacts there, which is +233 591 691 4157.
Okay, I would like you to repeat both, but slowly. Okay. The website, the phone number, slowly.
Okay, so the website is www.specialhomeslimited.com.
Okay.
Yes, and the phone numbers are +233 591 691 4157.
Okay.
And +233 20 138 1234. Yes, okay. So you give us a call and you schedule a viewing. Yes, and we are there almost every day. I think every day, 24/7.
Yes, actually we open every day.
Monday
so
to Sunday.
You can book with us almost any time at the numbers she mentioned. Our Special Homes Limited is ltd.com. Yes. So specialhomesltd.com is kind of the website. You can actually send us a WhatsApp as well. And then some of the numbers she mentioned is 020-138-1234. That's easy, 020-138-1234.
Okay.
And the website as well, that gives you our contact information. And we are on the social media pages as well. So look for Special Gardens or put in Google Maps, Special Gardens, and it will take you right to our location.
My final bit to you, are there any special deals you have that you're offering anyone who comes through?
Yes.
Any special deals?
Okay, so actually we give 50,000 cedis off for anyone.
50,000 what?
50,000 cedis.
Hey,
yes.
Off?
Yes.
What they say?
But once you are here, maybe once for the agree for us to double it. So.
Well, she's pushing the envelope, but why not?
Maybe.
We are we're on Joy News, and she's pushing the envelope. I think if anybody's calling us between now at these numbers 020,
they are giving me 100K.
Yes, we would give you 100,000 cedis off on any of our units that you're trying to buy. So give us a call right now. 020-138-1234. And yes, courtesy of you. So
you see, Mako Farmer, this one you have no excuse. You just have to give them a call. You have no excuse. Go to the website right now, reach out to them, arrange the viewing, pay up, and you're good to go. And
and once they mention Joy Special, we know they listen to us.
They were right here watching.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So.
Do you know what? Just to prove, when they come, tell them to show you, give you a link or something that they watched. If they watched, then you give them the 100K. If they didn't watch and it was a transfer away, any final words?
No. I think thank you for the opportunity. We partner with Joy through the start of our project, and we are happy to come back here and at least tell you more and give an update. We'll be kind of getting our first moving people in soon, and we'll have a small party for that. So we'll come back and invite you to that.
When the party is going on, invite me.
Yes.
Don't forget.
So Special Gardens, don't you forget, it's that latest development by Special Homes. Yeah, why don't you take a swing by, take a look at it. Those who joined us in the studio, Ransford Amu, Sales Consultant, Special Gardens, and Ruth Amwa, Assistant Sales Manager, Special Gardens. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
For coming. Well, do stay with us. Up next, we have this discussion with Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. There's a lot of talk about the MPP's primaries, but what do we make of it? They've conducted a survey, and he'll be sharing the details with us shortly after the break. Welcome back on the AM show. Let's focus on the optics of the politics now. The New Patriotic Party on our radar, of course, on Saturday the 27th. The parliamentary candidate slot will be up to be grabbed, or up for grabs. And we have Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics. They have been analyzing from the different constituencies. And they have a bit of a report to share with us. Mr. Dankwa, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Benjamin.
It's good to have you, since I think this is the first time this year, right?
Yes.
Right. How is Global Info Analytics doing?
We've been busy, and not bad at all. Last year we were quite busy, and we expect this year to be extraordinarily busy.
It's a political year. It will be even more busy.
Yes, more busy for us, but we are coping very well.
All right. So let's talk about this latest survey that you conducted. Give us a bird's eye view of what came to bear before we get to the proper breakdown and who is likely to do what. Why did you even embark on this?
I mean, no pollster will sit back and see things unfold like that without having to have a dipstick into the primaries and see what is happening. Some of the races are very controversial. Some have national interest or high national importance, and we ought to know what is happening in those races. So I think the reason why we went there was because of the figures involved and the consequences that we're looking at that could shape the next parliament.
So how did you conduct? What was your methodology? Phone calls? How did you conduct this?
We do have the list of MPP delegates across all the constituencies.
Okay.
So we sampled them to give us a margin of error of roughly around 3%. So we interviewed minimum of 450 delegates. In Tanonov, we interviewed 390 delegates. That gave us a margin of error of 3.14%. So we placed a phone calls to them. And we identify ourselves as calling from Global Info, or we are conducting an opinion poll on the MPP primaries. Would they want to engage us? Most of them do. Very few of them say, I'm busy. But we do get a good response from delegates.
I see. I'm looking at some of the figures here. Adansia Sokwa, 450. These are interesting constituencies. Bekwai, 450. In Shiaeso, Dr. Sticker, yeah. Stephen's constituency, Stephen Amo's constituency, 450. Domekwa Benya, 504. Not surprised looking at the numbers in that constituency. Yendi, wait, is that the most populous?
I think so.
Constituency? Yes. Because I know it's pretty huge. In someone with Guajiri, where you have Hayford Siao trying to get in there, and of course there is the old one, Frank Anodompre, in there. And these numbers, though, do you feel they sufficed to give you a true picture of what to expect in that?
Absolutely. They are giving us a margin of error of 3% up to 4% margin of error. So whatever we have within that margin of error, we are comfortable with it. In some cases, we interview more than half of the delegates in that constituency randomly. So that should give us a very fair view of what is happening there.
What sort of questions were you? Because usually when there's a survey like this, are you asking leading questions? Are you asking questions that, I'm just looking at are you asking questions that would provoke the people to say certain things? Or are you posing questions that would just let them tell you incisively what is on their mind and how they will vote? So how did you structure your questions to these people?
We do understand fully the impact of leading questions on the polls. And the last thing we want to have is to be misled in the polls, because we have a credibility down the drain. So we ask very neutral questions. And for us, in fact, if you follow us, we are the only one that publish our questionnaire before we go to the polls.
Oh, I see.
We put the questionnaire that we're going to ask voters well ahead of time before we even get to the field. But for this particular delegate poll, we asked them 3 questions.
Which are?
Would you say that your constituency has received a fair share of its development under the leadership of this incumbent MP.
Okay.
Straightforward.
So has your MP been able to lobby hard enough for you? MPs are technically not agents of development,
Absolutely.
but somehow we have made them that because of the failures of the system. Yes. But do you feel your MP has lobbied enough? That's basically it, the question.
Yes.
Okay. Then the second one.
How would you rate the performance of the current MP?
Okay. So now it gets a bit more personal. So has the person lobbied enough? Then how would you rate on the back of that? How would you rate the MP? And then finally?
Finally, in the upcoming primaries, who do you intend to vote for?
Okay. Did you see a certain linkage, nexus, between the answers given in the first two questions and the decision adopted in the third question, where now they determine where they are voting?
Absolutely, because the first two questions would enable us to triangulate the third question. For those who are probably being cagey with their responses, we could see how they rated the MP's performance, and that would give an idea, if they were very, very open, how they would have voted.
Okay. So at least it becomes very clear what your methodology was, and these questions that you posed to those delegates who would be voting. Let's get into the constituencies now.
Yes.
Unless there's something else you want to add before we get into the constituencies. But I see some very interesting ones, like I said, in Sawame Dwajiri, Anodompre, Hayford Siao, among others. They are not the only ones. There's Yendi, which is interesting because Farouk Aliu Mahama is in there. He won by quite a margin in the last election. I think maybe by about 20,000 votes thereabouts. It was about 40,000 plus 2 something. Ewutu Senya East constituency, there's Bantama, big deal for the MPP. In Shiaeso, Dr. Stephen Amwa, among others. So let's walk through them. When you look at them, first off, generally, what picture is painted from these constituencies where you sampled?
The picture we've seen is that it's kind of reflecting the tendency and the behavior of delegates that we saw in the MPP presidential primaries.
Okay, which is what?
Which is people who tend not to disclose their voting intention.
Okay. They want to remain
silent.
Okay.
And they are, in some cases, a huge chunk of the delegates. And what we are seeing is that from the experiences we saw in the MPP presidential primaries, those delegates who are not disclosing tend to vote for the outside candidate, not the establishment candidate.
Okay, so basically you foresee that as far as those who are not telling you what is on their mind is because there is some sort of, so to speak, agenda.
Yes.
They are cooking something.
Yes.
Yes. So when we look at them, okay, so let's get into the details. So here, for example, I believe this is Ewutu Senya East, right? Ewutu Senya East constituency.
Okay.
All right, so let's get there. So it means that group of undecided 12%, they are the fear delegates John was speaking of, blessed memory, was speaking about. Fear delegates.
Yes.
Because those ones, they can do you pasa. on D-Day. Yes. But let's walk through the figures. You have,
if you look at
Mavis Hawa Kumsin there. And what is the tail of the tape?
It tells me that she is safe because 96% of the delegates feel that under her leadership, they have received the fair share of their development.
Okay.
And 33% said she's performed excellently.
Okay.
And 61% said that she's performed very good or good. And then when we ask them who do they intend to vote for, you can see that 80% said they will vote for Hawa Kumsin.
Right.
If you look at those who are not disclosing,
which is quite a stamp of approval.
Yes,
I mean, give or take, it means that person is in. This has become a term on our political platform. Is it a comfortable lead?
Yes. Yes. And if you look at those who are not disclosing, they are a very small fraction of the delegates.
Right.
So they will not make any difference with the outcome of the election. Okay. So even if they have an agenda, that agenda cannot unseat Hawa Kumsin.
Okay. So quite a number of, let's look at it again. And so Ewutu Senya East, and there you have it. Ewutu Senya East. I'm just trying to get back to it. And so looking at the level of approval, definitely it looks like it's going the way of Mavis Hawakumson. Maybe also sometimes I hear they are affected when they get positions, ministerial appointments and all of that. It's a stamp of approval for the constituency, so to speak. But looking at the rest, Kweku Boateng 1%, Bernard nothing. Oh, undisclosed 8%, undecided 12%. So from where you sit, you would say that it is high. It's game, set, and match.
Yes.
How Akumsin takes
absolutely
Ewutu Senya East.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's get into the very next constituency in Sawam, Eduajiri constituency, and one of those on the ballot is actually here in the studio with me. He decided to show up after we had started the conversation. Hayford, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I am well.
I like your suit.
Thank you. Did you bring us some books? Since you are. All right, so Hayford Siao is going for that seat. He wants to upend the fortune or the reign of Frank Ano Dompre. Any words to share with us before we get into what the statistics show in that constituency?
I'm not trying to end somebody's.
I said upend.
Upend.
Not
somebody's
end.
Reign. Upend somebody's reign. The MPP constitution is quite clear. Every 4 years there's an opening, the seat becomes vacant, and there's an opportunity for potential candidate to aspire for the position. And for Nsama Dwajiri, been living there for a very long time and supporting the party. I understand the challenges of the party within the constituency, and I also understand the challenges of the broad community of Nsama Dwajiri, and hence I am bringing myself up to be voted on by the delegate of the MPP in Nsama Dwajiri. This vote by this delegate, they look at two things: your vision for the party and how you can help the party to be able to increase its vote within the constituency. And of course, your vision for the entire community of Nsama Dwajiri. And I believe that the vision I have espoused, I have shared with the people of Nsama Dwajiri, is getting into their hearts and minds. And that is why that constituency has become a hotspot for discussion on various platforms.
Okay, so 3 questions that the survey asks. Would you say that your constituency has received its fair share of the development under the leadership of your current MP? How would you rate the performance of the current MP in the upcoming primaries in the constituency? Who would you like to represent your constituency and therefore likely to win your vote? These were the questions that were posed. Interestingly, though, before we get to the tail of the tape in Sawam, Eduajiri, I see a comment here which got me laughing. Stephen Ajay says, please, can you ask Mr. Dankwa whether he is not sure money can change the polls? This is because candidates may like to vote for someone, but because of money offered and oaths sworn, they may change their minds. Maybe the oaths could change your
absolutely. I mean,
your survey report.
No pollster can really tell with definitive answers what a delegate will do given some sums of money. But what we know is that from what we've known, heard, both sides give. But in the end, the delegates would ask themselves, who is the best to represent us?
Even after swearing the oath.
Yes, I mean, we've now gone beyond those.
Yeah, people will still swear and they will do you pasa. Okay, so let's get into Sawam Eduajiri. Hayford, had you seen this before we came on air?
I have seen excerpts on it being posted on Twitter.
Okay, so let's go into Sawam Eduajiri. Walk us through it. Mr. Dankwa.
If you look at the first question, whether they have received the fair share of the development under the leadership of the MP, you have 80% said yes, they have. And then no 4%, and no opinion 16%. When we asked them about how they rate the MP, 40% said excellent, 39% very good or good, average 6%, very poor or poor 1%, no opinion 14%. Normally, if an MP is going to be in trouble, look at the very poor or poor rating.
Yeah.
Here it's very, very, very small, 1%. And then when we asked them about who they intend to vote for, 68% said Anodompre, 0 for Edututu, and 3% for Mr. Siam. But you have 29% who are not disclosing. And if our theory is right,
29%.
29%.
That's still.
Those are the guys who normally undo the incumbents. So we expect them to vote for the challenges rather than incumbents.
Okay, so the challengers are David Edututu Jr., Hayford Siao, undecided. So apart from Frank Anodopre, the next person is Hayford Siao with 3%. But that's pretty low, 3%. That's unless he's getting the chunk of the 29+% in addition and shaking something from those who said they would vote for.
In fact, normally what we see is that they tend to get over 90% of that undisclosed.
Okay.
Yes. They tend to get over 90% of that.
And was this survey done on delegates?
Yes, delegates. Randomly selected delegates on the phone.
What percentage of the delegates?
We interviewed 450 delegates.
In Nsawam region?
Yes.
What do you make of this, Hayford?
Well, I actually have absolutely no faith in this polls because
you have no faith in these polls?
Yes, because I know that the delegates of Nsawam region have been telling me about people calling them randomly and them giving them fake information. And so really, the people...
Oh, they have told you? Yes. Some of them have told you that people have called them randomly and you've given them fake information.
Because they don't know who is on the other line. And they know that the threat and intimidation of delegates, and the way some people want to benefit on the D-Day, they don't want to go and miss out on the payment of ex gratia to them. So some of them, if you call them, they will tell you, yeah, we will vote for the incumbent. But they know that they will not vote for them because they don't know where the calls are coming from.
So if I understand you correctly, you are insinuating that there is this push from the incumbent to use money to get the votes. No, I mean, let me situate. That is the first part because they are getting calls, but he said they don't want to miss out on their, quote, ex gratia. I don't know how that became ex gratia, but they don't want to miss out on whatever cash will come from. Yes. So they will say, because they don't know where it's coming from. Obviously, maybe per what you're saying, the incumbents may be trying to find out who is for me, who is not against me. So the one who is not for me, no cash will come. That's what you're saying.
Because, transportation will be given and nobody wants to miss out on the transportation that they are supposed to be receiving. And so definitely they know that what exists in the constituency is that there's always discrimination. When something is being shared, some people are tagged as red, green, yellow, and so they don't benefit from it. So now a lot of the delegates who are going to vote against the MP are following him and are praising him. And are really saying yes to a lot of the polls that has been happening across the constituency. Even people come and organize.
So when you say what you're saying, you started off by suggesting that you don't think these polls are credible. You don't believe in them. No, it is not that the polls are not credible. It is that if we have to go by what you are saying, then the respondents are not being credible in there. It is not that the poll itself is not.
If the respondents are not credible, you get.
No, it is not that the respondents themselves are not credible. They are not giving credit. They are intentionally, per what you are saying, intentionally not giving. As for that one, a pollster has no control over such a.
That is why it is dangerous for you to rely on the data.
So for you are saying that come the 27th, what we are seeing here with Frank Anodopre getting about 68% of approval ratings, at least per the 450 that were sampled, that is not going to be the tail of the tape at the end of the day.
Yes, and I predict that probably the 68% will probably be even for me.
Okay.
And on Saturday, you will see the results. You will be sitting here and you'll be calling me.
Okay. I mean, I like your confidence. I always like it when people come like this because we've seen in the past, the last primaries, right? You had people, same, and some won, and we were like, okay, you said it and you did it. Others too, they had done in our local parlance, we say waroshieti, gidi gidi, and then so it could go either way. Of course, we wish you the very best, but Frank Anodopre is also not a minnow in the game. Yes. He has strong bones, and you would need to put up a fight to get past him. Okay, let's get into other constituencies. There's also Yendi.
Yes.
My friend is there, son of the former Vice President Farouk Aliyu Mahama. What do you make of his chances? The last time I had an interaction with him, he was very positive. He said, "Oh, he would." I don't know whether he mentioned that he would get 70% plus. I don't know. I don't recall. Don't put me on record on that because I could be wrong. But as for optimistic about winning and getting he was. And if you look at that constituency, it's been predominantly. I think it's only once that the NDC has won it. What is the picture there?
Right. In terms of their view about their fair share of development, 78% said yes, they've received their fair share under his leadership. 78%. And then if you ask them to rate his performance, 25 said he's done excellent, 41 said he's done very good or good, 10% is poor, 18 average, and 6% no opinion. Now, these questions that are asked, sometimes the delegates will not be aware that we ask them who they want to vote for. So they tend to be truthful in their performance rating. So if they come to lie, you're able to cross-tab and identify them that they were lying.
Okay.
So naturally, if he doesn't like the MP, you rate him very poor, average, and we've seen that elsewhere. And then when they come to vote, it's that reflecting in their voting intention. Here, when we ask them their voting intention, 44% said they will vote for Farouk Mahama. 25% will vote for Abibata Shani. 14% are undecided. And 17% are not disclosing their voting intention. So he's in a good position to win the primaries in Yendi. If you look at his overall performance rating and where he is in the polls.
But if you look at Yendi, okay, you would also see that it's pretty curious. 44%, I mean, the approval rating is high, 44% saying they'll vote for him. But then you look at the undisclosed, then you look at those who are going elsewhere. It's not high and dry for him, is it?
Not quite, but you see, we do establish who among the two is the candidate of the establishment. That's also an important factor here. We understand Ayuba Dashani is being backed by people in the VP's office. So she has become,
that's what you hear?
Yes, we talk to people, so we hear what the delegates tell us.
Abibata Shani is being supported by people in the VP's office against Farouk Aliyu Mahama?
Yes.
Oh,
so
wow.
she has become the de facto candidate for the establishment. And Aliyu Mahama probably has become an insurgent, even though he's the incumbent MP. So those who are not disclosing their vote, we believe they will go for Aliyu Mahama on the day.
Okay. Now, there are some other interesting constituencies. I want us to take a quick look at them. I'll come back to Hayford Sian for more on what Nsawam Edrajiri can expect. But there's Bekwai, and you know why I'm interested in Bekwai. There's Inshiaeso, Dr. Stephen Amwa, Bantama. You can go to Adansia, Asokwa, among other places. Just briefly walk us through. And Dome Kwabenya. Hey, I was about to forget the biggest fish, Dome Kwabenya.
Yes.
Let's start from Dome Kwabenya.
Okay, Dome Kwabenya. The incumbent is in real trouble.
Oh, she is?
Very, very big trouble. If you look at the performance rating, excellent 7%, very good or good 29%, average 32%, very poor 29%, no opinion 6%. Who do you intend to vote for? Mike Okwe, 43%, Adwasafo 10%, Sheila 10%, undisclosed 24%. Undecided 13%.
We know in the last primary, it was by the skin of her teeth that she got the vote, by a handful of votes.
Yes.
And Michael Kwe has been going to that same place for quite a while now. So it means...
No, Adwasafo will lose the primaries this Saturday.
You're saying categorically that she will lose this?
Yes. Okay. We've been there, that's where we live. So we understand what is going on in the Community very well.
Okay, so I guess the picture is pretty clear. Let's take a quick look at some of the others and come back into the studio.
Right. Then let's look at Bantama. People were expecting huge battle in Bantama. It will not happen.
It will not?
No.
Why?
I mean, 99% of the delegates we spoke to on the telephone said they have received a fair share of the development under his leadership.
I see.
And then another 99% said excellent or very good. And who do you want to vote for is 94%. Asensu Boachi.
Asensumwache has his own issues within the party. There are so many things that have come up with some threats from certain quarters and all of that. But here, 94% saying they'll go for him. I guess he's home and dry.
Home and dry, yes. Nothing will change. The numbers may slightly differ, but the outcome will not change.
Okay. In Shiaso?
In Shiaso, now, his performance in terms of fair share is about 79%. Said they've received fair share of the development. And then 8% rate him excellent, and 55% said he's done very good or good. Average 29%. Very poor 1%. No opinion, 7%. But then when you ask them who do you intend to vote for, he only records 21% vote. And then Kennedy Kwesi can come 5%. George Odum 2%. Undecided 29%. Undisclosed 44%. That's where the secret lies.
So when you look at this, what would you say?
The question I ask myself is, who is the establishment candidate there? Is it the MP or the MCE? My natural conclusion would be that it will be the MCE. All the shenanigans and the attempt to stop him from running had come from certain quarters which can be linked to the establishment. Probably they realized that Dr. Stephen may not be in the strong position, so they wanted to probably remove the threat. From that perspective, I think there could be a tough race in Shiaso, and I wouldn't be surprised.
He's an appointed deputy minister of trade.
Yeah, there could be.
So his loss will be the party's loss.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
Anyway, let's wrap with Adansi Asokwa before we come back to Nsawam Edwadri. Of course, because of KT Hammond.
The boss, his boss.
The one who says some young men with beards have coconut heads.
Now, in his case,
interestingly, there are two young men in the studio with beards. I guess that makes two coconut
only
heads.
39% said they've received fair share of development under his leadership.
Right.
53% said no, they have not received fair share of development under his leadership. 8% said...
That's not a good sign, is it?
That's not a good sign. 8% said no opinion.
Another dangerous group. No opinion.
When you ask them, how do you rate his performance? 7% said excellent. 40% very good or good. Very poor, 11%. Average, 29%. No opinion, 12%.
If you look at poor, very poor, added to average, added to no opinion, that doesn't look good.
Absolutely.
That's like 30, so
almost
52%.
Yeah, 53%, yes.
And then you see, it gets even worse when you look at the voting intentions.
Absolutely.
KT Hammond will vote for KT Hammond, 23%.
Kwabena Nkansa Samoa, 5%. Samoa Benfo, 4%. Undisclosed, 33%.
Undecided, 34%.
There is really worrying for him.
Hey.
But together, there are about 67% of delegates.
Well, this is it. Let's conclude with Nsawam Edwadri. You don't have faith in this. You feel your people on the ground are not speaking up. They are not saying what their intentions are. Maybe out of intimidation, right?
Yes. There is a lot of intimidation. There's a lot of threats. People have been tagged as red, yellow, green. The red will not be given TNT. The yellow, they have to do something. I mean,
oh wow! People have been given color codes.
Yeah, they've been given color coding, and that is a disrespect to our delegates. And I have been telling them that under no circumstance should we be color coding delegates. Why should we be categorizing them and discriminating against them?
This is the first time I'm hearing of color coding delegates.
Yes. And the delegates feel they are being insulted because they are being told you are red, you are yellow, you are green. And I feel this is the absolute level of
where red is whom, yellow is whom.
Red means that you'll be voting for Hayford. Yellow means you are in the middle. And so we have to do a lot more work on you.
Green, you are voting for us.
Green, you are voting for us.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So the money will go to the green.
I don't know about that.
The
but
TNT will
there's
be
a
for
TNT for you to, yes. The green people, they are sure they are going to get it. But the red, you are out of the equation. So my question is, if you win the primaries, how do you go to the red people and tell them to come and campaign for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
You see, and this is why I have been preaching that we need unity in Nsawam Edwadri. We have to stop this discrimination. If it is one person you are giving as TNT, allow every single delegate to benefit from it. If you continue to go on this path, what it means is that you are creating division within the party.
But this whole bit about even the TNT, you know, your party technically is against it, right? The last time we had primaries and all the talk about, the party says it takes, well, at least that was on the presidential level. But this whole bit about TNT, now we see people pounding fufu, even at the assembly level, we're seeing all kinds of things. Don't you think we are overdoing it with all these bits? Because in the end, TNT is meant to influence. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
And for me, this is why I have been preaching to the delegates of Nsaman Regime, is that anything that is given to you now is a short-term benefit. Think about leadership that will bring you jobs. Think about leadership that will show you how to fish, not fish and give it to you. And so the people of Nsaman Regime, and I know my party has been preaching against all of this, and for a candidate like Hayford Sian, I don't have. And so I will continue to share my vision and ideas. And I hope the people, the delegates will vote for me so that I can be able to create the opportunities, bring in investors into Nsaman Regime, be able to brand Nsaman Regime as the preferred destination for investors, in Ghana. If we are able to do that, attract money invested in a constituency, a lot of people will get jobs. There's going to be an entrepreneurship program, loan schemes. You don't wait. You don't wait till election. Then you go and give people money. When indeed, even that money, you could have even given to them as loan to support their businesses. Not election time, because election, these people have been empowered already, and you will not even have to go to them to campaign because you have given them capital to be able to do their trade.
So let me ask you something. In Sawam Eduajiri, ahead of this parliamentary candidates primary, you will not be giving TNT, right? Hayford Sian will not be giving TNT.
I haven't said that because people have to move. If I have to move people, I have to be able to make sure that they are compensated as such. Election is a lot. We are raising resources to be able to make sure that people that have to supervise things, training that have to be done for people, and a lot of things are going in. So there's a lot of expenditure involved.
So in essence, it's also a battle about who can give more TNT. In the end,
I have no idea, but I think the delegates are not going to rely on who is giving more or who is giving less. I think they are looking at the policies, and Hayford Sian is the only candidate in Nsaman Regime that has demonstrated that he has been able to share visionary direction for the constituency, both for the benefits.
And you think Frank Anodom lacks that?
I haven't heard any of his policies. He has been attacking my policies that I've been sharing.
Oh, he has, eh?
Yes. I have a policy in place to support the constituency. The constituency does not have a befitting office. Hayford says that he's going to raise...
That is a party office?
Yes, a party office. Hayford says he's going to raise the resources so that we can have a befitting party office built for the party.
But wait, how is that part of... Because when you become a member of parliament, you are a member of parliament for the constituency, regardless of who voted you. So why is that part of your agenda?
It's a political party that has voted for you. The political machinery needs to be strong. And you cannot run a party that has very sensitive information from rented places. And I believe that if we really want to support our party people, we need a proper functioning office. And that is why I am going to raise resources with all party people in Nsaman Regime so that we can have a befitting office.
Okay.
I am going to make sure that in election 2024, my polling station executives will have budget to do their house-to-house campaign. 2024 is not about fanfare rallies. It's about going to the voters, their houses, knocking on doors and sharing the good project that has been done by His Excellency, the President and the Vice President. The people of Nsaman Regime must know, and house-to-house campaign will be done. People need a budget to operate with. Hayford is saying that he's going to give polling station executive a budget to work with in their various electoral areas.
Okay.
Hayford is saying that election is a risk and people will be moving in and out. They need a life insurance policy. I have negotiated with SIC to arrange a group health insurance policy for all polling station executives, constituency executives, electoral area coordinators, patrons, and elders of the party. And I have said I am going to do this a life insurance policy for them. I am saying to the delegate of Nsaman Regime that they have never received any form of training. You are polling station executive. What is the function of a chairman, a secretary, a youth organizer, a women organizer? No training has been. Hayford is saying that he's going to give them
Okay, so we have to go. It is obvious you are not disheartened by this poll, right?
No, definitely.
I just have an interesting question for you. If you can address it in 20 seconds, then I'll let Musa Dankwa end. How do you intend to use your common fund?
So, I mean, key areas.
20 seconds, like
key area is education.
Education, that's
providing scholarship for those that have finished senior high school and are looking forward to enter university.
All right, thank you. Musa Dankwa, you have the final word. Let's go. So when you look at this, where likely, I mean, what is your summary? Why ne luzu? Why ne ekonomi? What is the
quickly go,
very quickly?
Bantama,
1 minute maximum.
Bantama will be Asasubuachi. Ewutusenya will be Hawakumsen. Bekwai will not be COP Mensa. I think the young guy would
COP Alex Mensa.
He will not win the seat.
He will not win.
No, he will not win the seat.
I see. Okay.
And then Adjosafo will lose the seat.
Adjosafo will also lose in
in Tano North. It's a dead heat between Frida Prempe and Gideon Bwako. Dead heat.
The Minister for Sanitation and
and the doctor at the Office of the Vice President. The dead heat.
Okay, well, we'll see how things pan out. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. I wish you the best in Nsawam graduate. I wish you the best with your polls. If a lot of it pans out right, we'll come back here. And maybe if it turns out right in his instance, which he's hoping it does not, we'll come back and have this conversation again. Media like these ones. So those who joined us for the conversation, Musa Dankwa, he is with Global Info Analytics, and of course, Hayford Siao. He's CEO Ghana Library Authority. He's gunning for the position of parliamentary candidate for the MPP in Nsawam Edo-Ejiri. My name is Benjamin Akako. This has been another installment of the AM Show. I've done this together with Sweetie Abochi. Up next, we have Joy News Desk. Do stay.